I'm doing cool. How you doing, Fifth?
Good, good. I have a very interesting topic today. Um,
Yes, I see.
kind of a serious one, So for today, the topic is who suffers more after divorce, the parent or the child. And before you answer, just use TikTok friendly language up here, okay? No cursing. Try your best, okay?
Okay, definitely. I got you.
All right.
I would say the parent only because kids, okay, it depends on what age they're at, I always say. Because some kids, okay, for example, if a kid is like one, two, or three, or four,
Yeah.
they're not socially aware of marriage and divorce is. Now, visually, they may see mom and dad splitting up, but all they know is mom and dad are not together. Mom live in one house, dad live in another house. But they're not gonna know the impact until they get older. So I say with the child, it depends on the age, but with the parent, I would say the parent. So I would say it. I feel like they both. I feel like the parent suffers more, but I also feel like it depends on the child. Like at what age, like at the age of the child, because I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
For example, if a kid was like 13, 14,
Hmm.
they probably be more socially aware of divorce and stuff and marriage and stuff like that to where it can affect them very very it can affect them really like crazy. So I say it depends on the age of the child at the time, and it depends on the relationship with and it depends on the parent relationship. For example, if a woman went through a DV situation, she probably mentally, physically affected after the situation, but she probably would be heartless towards what the person who hurt her. Or such as, trying to say, whereas the mom and the dad had a good relationship, but it just didn't work out and they came to a common ground. That woman wouldn't be so impacted, but financially they will be impacted. Mentally, not really, because they came to that common ground understanding. So it depends on the circumstance with the parents. It depends on the it depends on the scenario and the situation. And the same as the kid, it depends on the age, and it also depends on if that parent had that conversation with their kid, or if that kid was around the situation itself. You get it?
Yeah. Can we also add in context? We could also base it off of how long the couple was married before the divorce. Like how many years of marriage, how many years of being together. That could also play a role.
Yes. Go ahead.
You
I'm
know?
sorry.
No, no, no. I was just kind of adding that. Like, let's just say, there's been like a 20-year marriage, right? Being with someone for 20 years and then just divorcing would be different than somebody who's been married for 4, 5. I would think that would add to the intensity of who suffers.
Yes, and I think what you're saying is definitely impactful because you're putting the amount of years they've been with, and and you're right about that. That can you add on what I have said, and you add on a good view side on it, because I didn't even think of age. I didn't think of the years of marriage. So thank you for that, and I definitely like that because you have some people who just got married and they just get divorced,
Yeah.
and it don't hit as heavy as somebody who been married for 50 years or 20 years, because it's like, just because you're married does not mean you went through the experience. You just got married during that time period, so you haven't fully experienced marriage, to where somebody who's 50 years in marriage went through that experience, went through the ups and downs, tried the tribulations, went to thinking about, oh, I want to divorce you, and I'm like, went through all of that. So yeah, I like that you added that to my viewpoint. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. The age of the child definitely plays a role. You can have marriages that are older than the child's existence. You have that as well. Um, Also, what the child has seen, because you mentioned
Mm.
a DV situation. So if the child has seen it, you have who was in it, and then you have what the witnesses of it, right?
Yeah.
And That could affect them too. But then let's go into long term, right? So who would suffer more long term post divorce of the parent of the child?
Are we speaking to that situation, or are we speaking like in general?
You in general, without the nuance of DV and everything, just in general, who's going to suffer more long term post divorce?
Post divorce, I
Yeah,
would probably say that's a good question.
yeah,
Okay, that's a really good question. Okay, I'll probably say, damn. Okay, I'll probably say the child only because when it comes to like brain activity, children brains are very fragile, but children brains are still evolving throughout time. So if all I knew was their mom and dad being together, right? They can't accept that their mom and dad are splitting up. So it's gonna cause them to feel like they have to choose between mom and dad. It's gonna feel like that they were the problem. They're gonna have all these underlying questions on why did their mom and dad, like why did their mom and dad work it out, or why their mom and dad are not together. So I said a child. I said a child. I feel like parents can handle things a lot more better because their brain reach maturity, their brain reach maturity level, and on top of that, it's based off the experience. So a child cannot handle or cannot imagine being divorced. All they know is the conflict of pain of why did my mom and dad break up and all these different questions. Whereas the mom or the dad already had that question already in their head. Where like, the mom already had to answer the question, and they had like, well, we broke up because X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. Because the parents, they know the answer to why they got divorced, but the child is the outcast where they feel like, was I the problem? So I feel like the child want to suffer more.
yeah. So how about this, right? Should the children know? Like, should it be the children's business to why the parents got a divorce? What do you think?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm gonna say this. Okay, I'm gonna say it depends at a certain age. I feel like if they're, I know what I'm gonna say. Yeah, if they're like a baby, like kids, like I'm talking from 5 to 11, right? Then no. I feel like they should know the full scope of why they got divorced, but they should know some pieces. Like, for example, spoon fed them. Like, yeah, me and mom and dad not gonna be together due to us not communicating well. And I think you shouldn't. I think when it comes to topics like that, it shouldn't be one sided. It shouldn't be, oh, dad was the no. It should be me and mom and dad just couldn't communicate and leave it at that. And then once they get a little older, that's when you could just explain to them further. But only if they ask questions. If they don't ask questions and they don't really care for why they got divorced, then no. But I feel like I'm gonna say okay. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes because I don't want to be like contradicting. I'm gonna say yes. But at a certain age, I personally feel like if you're gonna do that, make sure you say it articulately, but don't give them a lot of information on why y'all guys split up. And also, I also say make sure you just spoon fed them. Like don't give them a lot, but give them enough to where give them enough where they don't have a blindsided understanding of one partner bad side or the other partner bad side. So I say yeah.
There's like many ways to kind of go at this, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you have this situation where the child is affected. Hopefully the co-parenting is still there, right? Hopefully, right? Because you have situations where divorce happens and then they don't see either the mother or the father anymore as much, and then now we have like one-sided parenting, sadly, right? But hopefully there's a healthy co-parenting. As far as the parents go, the trauma could be so deep and embedded with them that they never, you know, think that they could find love again or get married again. So that's awful, and that's also in the suffering as well. What do you think about that, Golden? Golden, you there? What happened? Okay, she probably had a phone call. Yeah, beyond to pull up when you're ready, all right? I see you in the chat. Pull up when you're ready. But yeah, like I was saying, you have situations where the parents, that whatever happened in divorce, they get so traumatized that they never move on in terms of wanting to pursue marriage again. You would say that that's part of the suffering as well, the fact that they got to heal and come back from such a thing, you know. And so then you have the child who was growing up. He or she started out growing in a home with their mother and their father, and now they're no longer in the house with their mother and father at the same time. So then you have that. But the thing is that you have to have a healthy co-parenting situation to at least kind of amend that to some degree. It may not fix it fully, but at least having two parents raising you, even if they're in separate homes, should still contribute to a positive outcome of the child as best as possible. So that also plays a factor. Golden, if you're still in the chat, I appreciate you coming on. I really do. Come back when you're available. Okay. I really do appreciate you starting off the show. Thank you. But yeah, man, this is some real stuff, and I think many people can relate to this. We have a lot of people who grew up in broken homes, even if let's just say their parents weren't officially married, but they were in a relationship. They were together. The relationship ends, and then now, once again, you have two parents not in the same home, and how did that contribute to someone's life? So you have that. So many ways here. Many ways here. Okay, I don't know who this is. I don't know who that is. Like people who request up, man. If you ain't got a photo, I'm gonna think you're a troll. So I don't know. And I've had trolls come up here and try to ruin the vibe or derail the conversation, and I don't like it. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, Bob, I don't know who you are, man. I don't know if you for real or you trolling. I don't know who you are. You got no profile pic. Okay. From Pennsylvania.
I'm so sorry about that, love. I had a
It's
phone
okay.
call, but I had a phone call. I'm so sorry about that. So, what was the question you asked me again? I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'll bring it back. So so I was talking about how the child can be affected in this way, right? So you would hope that if the parents split, that it's still like a healthy co-parenting arrangement, right? Hopefully, right? Healthy co-parenting,
Yes.
right? There are times where that's not it. Usually, there'll be a situation where it's a one-sided parenting. They only have the mother or they only have the father, right? Vice versa. Then you have, on the other hand, the parents who, after their divorce, they can be so hurt in it in how the relationship ended, whether we could call it trauma or not, to the point where they don't even move on or get married again. Like they don't even believe that that's something that they could even find again for their lives. And then that's part of suffering too, some would say. How do you look at those two dynamics?
So, okay, okay. I still look at those. I still look at those two dynamics as still affecting.
Beyond the
Yep.
thing. Golden, come back when you can. Okay, here she go.
I don't know. I don't know if somebody kicked me out. I don't know, but maybe my Wi-Fi. But can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I'm so sorry. I think it's my Wi-Fi. Somebody kicked me out. I don't know what it was, but yeah. So I say I look at those two dynamics as like as being still affected to the child. But I think that what makes that one different from the other one is the other parent give their child clarity and they have that healthy relationship to where that child can understand even though my parents are not together, I still see the best versions of both my parents, and I still see, them interacting with each other healthy to where when they get older, they can interact with the people healthy and not, take on toxic habits, such as the other. For me, for example, I was the child when my mom would say, your dad is this and your dad is that. My mom wants to take all the credit. And my dad, well, he was a deadbeat. But I didn't let that, stick to my mind. But I would say this is that can affect the child in a negative way because the child can grow up despising one parent or having resentment because that parent tried to protect them or felt like they was holding them hostage from the other parent. So we have to understand communication matters and stop allowing our emotions get the best of us because as people we're not intentionally dating and we're creating kids out of lustful temptation, lustful desire, and all these different things. And then we sitting up here blaming the other gender or making an excuse for other gender actions. That's not how it should happen. Because now this kid who parent been talking bad with the other parent is gonna feel away with the other gender. Not only with the parents, not only with the parents, they're gonna have a negative connotation against that other gender. For example, if the mom is talking bad about the dad the whole time, she's gonna grow up saying, I don't want a man, I don't care for men opinions, I don't care for men perspective, men this, men that. The same with a man. So we have to learn to stop allowing our emotions take an effect when it comes to kids. I don't care. Listen, what you and that person went through, don't let that affect your kid because not only it's gonna mess your kid up in a sense mentally, it's gonna cause you and your kid to have that strained relationship. I'm a true believer of the mom and dad. No matter if y'all not speaking on good terms, y'all have to care about the kid. It's all about me, 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 me. What about the kid, the kid, the kid? So take your feelings out of it and think about the kid. That's how I truly feel.
Absolutely. Hey, Beyonda, you ready?
Yep.
Hey, brother, who do you think who suffers more after divorce, the parent or the child? You have the floor.
That's a case by case basis. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I can't really answer that question from my point of view only because I never went through a divorce. My mom and dad were never together. I didn't know my until I got older. So I don't really know. But if I had to use whatever knowledge I had about divorce, I would say probably the child. But it really depends on how the divorce happened and how old the child is. If they're below the age of, I would say if they're like 17, 16 below, they're probably going to suffer the most. Just because, you grow up thinking that your mom and dad are going to be together for a long time. And when you're 16 and 17, you're probably the most emotionally vulnerable you're ever going to be in your entire life. So if you're going through a divorce at that time, that's a really bad time as well. So I would say the child usually suffers. Yeah. And then I would say also when it comes to the parent suffering or whatever, it normally, the dad is able to bounce back a lot faster than the mother is, So I would say that the mom suffers the most because, we already talked about the stigma that single women face whenever they have kids. So if they're going through a divorce and they have a kid from the marriage, That's like a double whammy. You know, they're not going to be able to like. They're going to have a harder time finding a man to take them serious. You know, unless that man has a kid himself. So really, you know, I would say the children suffer, and then you know, the ex-wife or the mom suffers. You know, that's what I would say.
Yeah. All right, let me get to Brenda. Hey, Brenda.
Doing?
Hey, I got an interesting topic up here today. Who suffers more after divorce, the parent or the child? What do you think?
Well, it would have to be the child. It's
Mm-hmm.
not the parents. Because the child didn't have a choice in that divorce, first of all. And children love their parents anyway. Like, they'll love them whether they're together or not, but it's a hard thing for a child to grow up without either the father or the mother being there and role models, okay? They say in a divorce, we'll say if you have a daughter, okay? Those marriages, when they break down, the daughters can become quite promiscuous, looking for attention because they don't have that male figure. They're targets. And the boys, basically, like in a breakdown of marriage and stuff like that, they can become a little bit more dominant. But no matter what, who loses out is the child. That's why I'm saying, like, when you should try to stay together if you can, but if you can't, there should always be a good communication between the mother and the father. Because why not keep them kids even if you're not together? Let the kids have access to both parents, not just one. And so many nowadays, it's unbelievable. Like, people keeping their kids from one another. You made a choice together as adults. You made that decision to have a child. Man up, woman up. Protect your children. Let your children see the father. Let the children see the mother. Just because you're not together anymore, there's no reason a child should suffer. Because you're going to affect them emotionally, and they're not going to have the stuff they need to learn from their father on the father's side. And they're not going to have the stuff to learn from the mother on the mother's side. So, of course, the children's going to fall through the loops.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Speak Easy. How you doing?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Wait a minute. Is that who I think it is?
How you doing?
What the heck, bro?
It's the man with 1,000 names.
Yeah, quite literally, man. Holy.
I like to change, you know.
Hey, man. Hey, interesting topic today. Who suffers more after divorce, the parent or the child? Go ahead, Speak Easy.
Mm, when it comes to divorce, it's often the kids who suffer the most. Well, parents navigate their own emotional and logistical challenges, but kids often feel confusion, insecurity, and loss more deeply. They rely on especially when it comes to the kids, they rely on a stable, loving environment. And when that foundation breaks, the impact on their well-being can be long lasting. So, of course, the parent, they do face the challenges, but kids suffer the lot, I guess, during a time of a divorce. But it also depends on the dynamics of family dynamics. But pretty sure I think the kids, they suffer a lot during a time of divorce. So I'd go with the kids.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier to Golden when she was up here, I said, do we take into account how long the parents were together before they were divorced in terms of who suffers more as well? Does anybody want to speak to that?
You know what's crazy? I'm gonna have to take back what I said before about the women suffering more, only because if you look at the unalive rates and whatnot, and how men deal with breakup, and divorce is the highest form of breakup. I think men are far worse off during that time But once they get healed and they move on from it, then they're in a better place. I would say women don't necessarily have to go through that time because they have their gang of girlfriends and maybe potentially another guy that's willing to like take care of their finances and whatnot. I'm not saying that's the case for every situation. I'm not trying to paint a blanket over all women who go through a divorce, but I am saying that the likelihood of someone taking care of a man after he gets divorced is very seldom. So is that what you were looking for, Fifth, or is that a different question?
Uh,
Uh, it's a question that's
I
fine.
understand your
Yeah,
questions, but
yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead, speak easy. Go ahead.
uh, you know, um, as the brother he rightfully said, divorce is the highest form of breakup. You know, it also depends on a financial stability. If woman is not financially stable and she has to take care of her kids, then definitely women will suffer a lot in a financial perspective. But if woman is financially strong and if they go through the divorce, then probably the woman should not have to take the burden of financial responsibilities to raise their kids. The financial stability comes here in your questions too. you know
Yeah. So beyond I think it kind of goes into who suffers more after the divorce, the man or the woman, as opposed to the parents or the child. We could probably do that for another topic, but I would just say, um, the how long the parents were together does play a role. So if we're talking like a 20-year marriage, and we also have to keep in mind that and we also have to keep in mind that that just because you just got married doesn't mean the kid came automatically. I mean, you could be in a marriage for 10 years, then have children, right?
Yeah.
So then let's just say now you're married for 20 years. You get a divorce, that child is 10. So you've been married longer than the kid's existence. And then you get a divorce. So what's it on the parents at that point?
I see what you're saying. So yeah, like I was saying, it's a case by case basis.
Yes, of course.
Like I said, if they're 17 and below, 9 times out of 10 they're going to suffer. But if your parents are getting divorced and you're like 20, I mean, it's going to be hard, yes, but like you're going to be all right compared to what kids go through. Only because of the fact that you're a grown adult. And look at the whole of our Ball and his wife thing. The kids, the Ball brothers are grown men, all three of them. They witnessed, they saw what love looked like in the household, and they didn't have to go through any of the abuse. They didn't have to go through any of the hardships of having their parents divorced when they were kids. Now they're in their 30s, playing in the NBA or doing whatever they're doing. And yes, like it's still a hard time to see your pops and your mom go through that. At the same time, though, you have that maturity to be like, you know what, I don't like what they're going through, but I still love my dad, I still love my mom, and we're gonna keep it pushing. Whereas when you're younger, you're not gonna be able to have that maturity and have that perspective because you're thinking about how it affects you, which is fine because you're a kid.
But you know what? I
it
think the
does make
problem.
sense.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It does make sense. Thank you. Go ahead.
But I think the problem is with now, I think people are having kids at a young age and people are having kids who are not emotionally mature, people who are not emotionally intelligent, people are having kids who don't have discipline or structure, and that's just the reality of it. Because for example, how would you feel your son came to you, right? Mind you, let's say, for example, speak, right? Let's say your son was 15, 16, right? And all he did was play all the time and play. And he told you he got a girl pregnant. How would you as a parent, right, would say, like, how would you as a parent will discipline that or structure that? Or how would you break that generational cycle,
I have no idea, and that's a interesting question. Hopefully, I don't have to go through that. But I mean, you're right about that. People are getting married without having any type of foundation in what they're trying to go for. And that's true. Are you so okay? So Fifth, are you speaking more towards like the young people getting married too young and like getting divorced? Or are you talking about established marriages and they're getting divorced? What kind of divorce demographic are you talking about? Are
I'm
you
not.
talking about all of the above?
Yeah, I'm going. So his. I'm all the above, but the topic is open for nuance in this sense because I added it earlier. I said if a couple was married for 10 years versus a couple was married for 5, and they divorced and the kid seen it. Also, the age of the kid at the time. Also, how they got a divorce. Because if you got a
Right.
divorce because of infidelity, or Golden added earlier, if you got a divorce because of the DV,
Yes.
that also could play a role in how the parents suffer and how the child suffers based off what the child
Absolutely.
could have seen. Yeah,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
yeah,
So in those instances, oh yeah, a child's gonna suffer greatly. You know, I mean, so you and I both know that when you look at some of the statistics as to reasons why they got divorced, it's always like a very vague reason, like oh neglect and we fell out of love and like you know what I mean, like there are all kind of reasons for getting divorced. I'll say like those kind of reasons, the soft reasons. I mean, I don't see how a child is gonna suffer that much. Especially if like the parents are like at a good spot, with their splitting up, and they're not like being mean or ugly about it. I feel like if you have a good example of how to do a divorce, not saying that divorce is good, but I am saying that there is a healthy way to do it without having to paint the other parent as the bad guy. Then the child will not suffer as much as if like someone cheated or someone had DV or any other reason.
But you know what? You can't really okay. But you know what? Okay, I respect your perspective, but I'm gonna say there's some pushback because I think you have to understand that there's some kids will see their mom and listen. There's some kids who been with their mom and dad for 10 years, 5 years, their whole life, and once their mom and dad get divorced, right? At a young age, it can affect them mentally, no matter if it's cheating, infidelity, stuff like that. Because not only it can affect the relationship with the mom and dad, it can affect the relationship with the dad and son or daughter and mom and stuff like that. Because, for example, let's say the boy caught his dad cheating on his mom, right? And the boy had resentment. The boy had a grudge. The boy was upset. The boy did not like his dad at all because after that day, he felt like, why would you betray your family? Why would you hurt us like that? So his perception of his dad is going to change. It went from I love my dad to no, you are my enemy. And that can happen. Even financial reasons. Like if the mom can't pay for certain things, stuff like that, and the boy, go to his dad's house and his dad being stingy with the money, like, no, I'm not giving you no money because your mom is X, Y, and Z, your mom is this. And he's not providing, like, he's not trying to give his son the money because his dad got his emotions in it. So now it's affecting his relationship with the kid. I feel like no matter what type, okay, I'm gonna say this. Divorce is bad. Divorce affect no matter what type of divorce you go through, it's gonna at the end of it, it's gonna affect the kid, no matter in a good way. No matter what type of divorce it is, it's always gonna affect the kid in a bad way. It's because at the end of the day is kids still learning themselves and still learning how to understand their emotions. So just think about it. When you was like 8 or 9 years old, right? Did your perception of marriage or love or even dating was the same at 8 or 9 years old, or was your emotions intact from like was your emotion the same? No. So, but I hear what you were saying because I hear what you're saying, but that's not like most. That's not like that's probably some kids, but that's like teenage age. Like when you like 17, 18, 16 years old. When you are a baby, like a preteen, when you are 11, 10, 9, 8, 4. No, I probably would say when you like probably when you like 8 through 11, 8 through 12, 8 through 13. That's when it like take an effect on your mental. But when you are a grown adult, it don't hit different because you now aware of life. Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Because fifth, think about it.
Mhm.
A parent parents went through a lot, so they got accustomed to the struggle. They got accustomed to reality. Kids are still learning reality. That's why I'm a firm believer of not yelling at my kids. I'm a firm believer of not drinking around my kids, not acting drunk around my kids. I'm a firm believer of that because I grew up in an alcoholic household to where it affected me so bad. I don't even want a man to drink around me. I don't want a man to smoke around me. I don't want a man to talk to me a certain way or feel disrespected. I don't want a man, like, I just don't want a man because my perception of men dating and what mom went through was like, I don't want to go through that. Like, I don't want to be in her position where I have to drink because I'm carrying a lot of weight on my shoulders. I don't want to do that. Whereas let's say my mom was in a marriage, relationship, X, Y, Z, it would be different because I would have two parents to give me an understanding of how a man is like and how a woman is like. And I would see the outlook from a man and outlook from a woman. And majority of people who comes on panels that speak on, men and women, some of them either base their experience, some of them, I'm gonna say some of them some of them have a negative connotation against men and men who have gun connotation against women because they grew up in a single parent household. Some of them actually feel like because I went through this, it affects all genders. It affects that one gender, and that's not how we should be,
Yeah, speak easy. You got a response?
I think the age is the major factor here. When kids are older, the burden on parents during a divorce may be somewhat less because older kids are more often independent. As they grow, they may require less day-to-day care and financial support, which can reduce some responsibilities for parents when the kids are older, right? However, the emotional impact of divorce can still affect the kids at any age, but older the kids, less burden will be for parents in their day-to-day care and financial responsibilities. So let's say, for example, if my son is 17 years old, then
Hey,
if I
sorry,
get
I had a phone call.
divorced,
My bad.
right? Let's say, for example, if my son is 17 years old, right? And if I get divorced, I'll have a less responsibilities and financial responsibilities on him because at 18, he should be able to make his life by of his own. So age does matter too when it comes to the financial perspective, but still the emotional impact in divorce can still affect the kids will be my take on this entire conversation. Hope it does make sense to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, my fault. I had a phone call, so I didn't hear anything Golden said. Except for I caught the beginning of what she was saying, but then I didn't hear anything else.
Yeah, to kind of summarize what Golden was saying, she was saying that you have situations where a child can have resentment for the parent that she saw uh is the cause for why the divorce happened. So
Oh
she
yeah, no. I'm not disputing that. I'm like, yes, is it going to affect the kid no matter what to some degree? Yes,
yeah.
but that doesn't necessarily mean that the kid's suffering. That just means that it affects them in a negative way where they're gonna have some type of behavioral trait that's not conducive to living life. I get that. That's like even me. Like I didn't have my dad growing up, so that affected me in a negative way in some areas. But I turned out okay. I didn't perpetuate any stereotypes to go to jail, so I'm still doing okay for myself. But I mean, I get that. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, of course. It either way, someone's going to be affected, whether it's the kid, the parent, both, no matter what. All I'm saying is that there are instances where it's not going to be as bad if the situation isn't a toxic situation like cheating or DV or whatever else. If it's if it's a situation where both parents mutually have respect for each other, they just don't want to be together anymore, that's not as bad for that's not necessarily a recipe for suffering for the kid if it's done in a way that the kid isn't seeing anything bad happen to the parents or the parents aren't treating each other in a negative way.
You're speaking in a healthy co-parenting
Yeah.
situation post divorce, right?
I've seen it plenty of times. Like my niece and nephews, their dad and their biological mom, they're not together, but it's a healthy thing. Like they're good. You
So
know,
the
they're doing pretty good in life. I'm not. I don't see I'm not there every night where there might have been tears or whatever. But like I have being around those kids and loving those kids and whatnot, I can tell that they're not like it might have affected them. It might have affected them in some way, but they're not suffering from that.
But
You know what I mean?
may I ask you, like, how old is they? How old is them?
Oldest one, he's going to college soon. Second one is
Okay.
like in high school. Third one wasn't even. Third one was like one or maybe two when they divorced. He didn't really get to see like, but the parents have always been there, so he never like saw it in a bad way, I guess.
So, okay, so boom. I could say this, right? I can't agree to a certain extent because I had met people who were like, I had met people, but not really, not really. Okay, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. I can agree with you because there are probably some people out here who were not affected in a certain extent, like a certain extent, but you're still affected at the end of the day as a child because like you said, the one with the college, right? The one who's in college, right? He moved on from like he already accepted his fact. He already accepted it that his mom and his dad are not going to be together. He already accepted that. Once you reach a certain age, right? For example, do you think I was in high school, like sitting up there saying, "My like I need my yeah." Do you think I was in high school saying my mom and my dad need to get back together? No, I didn't really care. I was outside doing my big one, but I was young, questioning where was my dad and why my dad not in the household and what's going on. Like I was questioning at a young age. So at a certain age, kids gonna stop caring. But like once they get adult, like 18 and 21 at that age, that's when reality hits them and they now understand that's the concept of okay, mom and dad not in the household. But if you would have asked them when they was babies or probably like
again, it
Well, yeah,
depends.
she's proving my point. I said
Beyond,
all that. I said all
again,
that.
it depends on how we are raised by our parents. If we are raised with the domestic violence, then from one way to other that affects us. Probably it doesn't really matter if the kids is in high school or in the college elsewhere, right? If the parenting style was not really good, and if kids have a negative traumatic event, then from one way to other the kids gonna remember that he probably gonna don't take care of their parents too if they were raised in a toxic
Right.
environment. So it depends on the dynamism and the parenting styles the kids were raised.
No, I get
no,
that. You're saying
Yeah,
you're
that
you're
that,
saying
that
you're
has a
saying
huge
when I'm
impact. That has a
but that's
humongous
not what I'm
impact.
saying. Hold on, speak. No, what I'm saying, love, right, is I'm saying you have to ask. I'm saying, hey, listen, when you're young, your brain not socially aware of the dynamic of your mom and dad. They know it visually, like, okay, mom loves dad and dad loves mom. But if you would ask a 10-year-old boy, right, for example, for example, if you put a 10-year-old boy in a household where his mom and dad love each other, right, for 5 years to 10 years, right? And then you take the dad to the household, right? He gonna start questioning why is my dad not in the household? What's going on? Why is mom crying? Why is mom shedding tears? Why is mom so stressed out? Because kids can feel energy. And once you bring that energy in the household, crying and because crying and you're emotionally distraught, it can affect the kid emotionally. You understand it? Even mentally, which are questioning themselves. To where if you put an 8-year-old boy in a household where you take up dad, that boy is not going to care as much as the 10-year-old boy. Why? Because he have grasped the social awareness of the family dynamic and the issues of reality. As kids, we live in delusion. I want to Justin Bieber and everybody. Now that I'm 21, I don't even want to date no more because as we grow, we learn. As we learn, we experience. So you have to understand that. Like, I hear what you're saying. I'm not saying that you're saying is wrong. I'm just saying it's different age group that you can't just say that because I'm talking about I'm talking about a 5-year-old to 11-year-old. You're speaking on a college boy. He's a college man who probably had 2 girlfriends who broke his heart. He probably went through to understand, okay, women are my X, Y, Z. They playing games. But you gotta understand that, love. Like, I hear what you're saying. You're right. Now, some kids are not affected as other kids, but they still affected no matter what. But
That's
not
that's
to
what
the
I
same
said, though.
extent.
That's what I said.
Right,
Everything you're
but
saying, I
but
said.
I'm saying they're all gonna be affected, and no matter what the extent, they're all gonna be affected, no matter what. Mentally, they'll always be affected by no matter extent. Because have you asked, right? For example, Brian, have you asked your nephew, how did you feel when mom and dad were split up? How did you feel? Have you asked him
Yes.
that? And what
Yes.
did he say?
He said I was sad, but I got over it.
See, because he was emotionally distraught because he saw what his mom was feeling. He felt what his dad was feeling. That's a lot of emotion on one kid. So I hear what you're saying, but kids do. At the end of the day, a kid will suffer at the end because they have to carry that burden of, well, I didn't cause the pain, but I feel like I was the pain of the relationship. So I hear what you're saying, but you also understand what I'm saying too.
Go,
You're saying
Golden,
everything that I
go,
already said.
Golden. Let me chime in real quick because I was hearing Beyond the
Fifth, didn't
Witness.
I say that already, Fifth?
Yeah, you said it just more. What do you call streamlined? So this is what I will say. So the other side of Beyonda's point was if the parents still have a healthy co-parenting situation, that would kind of change the suffering part because he still has his dad and his mom equally involved. So there's going to be a difference there. If one parent jets out, then that's a different kind of suffering. So yeah, Beyonce was speaking to both of those points, Golden.
Yeah, and I was saying that I did mention the age thing too. I said if you're 17 or below, you're going to have a more emotional reaction to it because you're more emotionally vulnerable during the ages of when you're 1 to all the way to your 17. Because going through puberty and going through like figuring out who you are between the ages of 13 and 17 is tough. You start to get a little bit who you are when you're 18, but you're not fully there yet. But you're able to capture or be able to effectively live in reality a lot more than you would if you were younger than that. So all I was saying is that if you're going through a divorce, if your parents are going through a divorce, depending on how they got divorced, you're going to suffer from to some degree from the ages of the time you're able to like grasp like logic from what like 6 or 7 years old to 17 years old. That's when you're gonna like get more of an emotional reaction. But when you're 18 plus, it's not gonna be as bad. It's still gonna affect you, but it's not gonna be as bad. And I also said that it depends why they got divorced. If it's a toxic thing, it's going to elicit more suffering for that kid, depending on what age they are. But if it was a respectful thing to where the kid is able to see that the parents are still healthy, still love each other, but not in love, and still have you involved without making you feel like you're the problem, then you'll be better off.
Okay, so first and foremost is okay. I didn't hear all of that because, like I said, I was getting dropped by my Wi-Fi. I had a couple phone calls, so I was just I was coming in throughout the conversation. And thank you, Fifth. Thank you, Beyond, for explaining that. So now I have an understanding of what you say in the whole overall. Okay, because when you were speaking, right? I did come on when you said the last part, like about your nieces and stuff like that. I didn't hear that part, but I didn't hear everything you have said overall. So I do want to apologize. Thank you for clarifying, both of you guys.
It's cool,
You're
Golden.
you're cool. I was just saying, yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's good, Golden. So the parents, right? So we gotta also look at it this way as far as how the parents suffer. So sometimes a divorce could be so bad that it affects how the parent can parent. You have that obstacle as well. One of the things you would hope the parents did after a divorce is at least healed from it to some degree. And then also you have the children who are the witnesses of the divorce, right? They're connected, they're connected biologically, but they're not connected to the cause of the divorce, right? They just that's their parents. They were growing up every day, seeing their mother and the father in the same house, and now they're not seeing that anymore. Um, so as far as the parent goes, what does the parent do after the divorce? You know what I'm saying? As far as like life after divorce and what they do, because sometimes this is not said a lot, but you have parents who suffer silently. You know, they're raising their kids, but they suffer silently. Does anybody want to speak to that?
I can. So I probably say this. Boom. So I think that when it comes to you're right about that suffering silence because there's some parents who don't want them kid. There's some parents that don't want their kids to feel how they feel or take on that burden of their feelings and of the issue itself and try to protect it from the reality of it. But I personally feel like you have some parents that are very direct and will sit you down and say this is what me and dad going through, come with me to the courthouse. I want you to see the reality of what we're going through and stuff like that. Now you have some parents who tend to sugarcoat everything and not say nothing about the divorce. Like, for example, my mom would never ever tell you what she went through at all, and I still don't know like what she going through. I don't know at all. My mom is the type of person she could look you in the eyes and you be like, "What the fuck?" Oh, I'm sorry, fam. You be like, "What? Like, are you okay?" Because my mom, she was very protective, but she's also a single mother, so I don't know if that like she tried to protect me from men or protect me from herself. I don't know what it was, but she was just like that. She was protective. So some parents tend to keep the perception of reality from their kids. So in distort their or alter their reality,
Yeah, and
But go
yeah,
ahead.
no, I'm saying, and I think also that um puts the perception that maybe some parents don't suffer at all because they're not really making a noise about it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not publicly to everyone, but everybody else. But in their room when their doors close, they could be going through it.
But but the question is fifth is right. The
Hmm.
question is right is when do we as people we sit down and we say, hey, how are we going to manage our kids and manage the divorce and be open and honest to our kids? You asked me the question, it was like, would you tell your kids about the divorce and stuff like that? But the question is, at what point do we tell them about it or do we keep behind closed doors? Because what's going to better benefit them?
Yeah, parents. One of the things we got to do, right? Parents is a pair, right? It's a pair. So you have the mother, you have the father, right? So I it's bad, especially after a divorce, when now you don't even have like the raising dynamics have changed now. You don't want one parent bails. You know what I'm saying? But if you have both of them effectively in a good way, it's gonna be a different outcome. But then I would also kind of add in too, some parents remarry. So then now they have stepfathers or stepmothers in the picture. That could also play a role in on the child, and trying to figure out who suffers more at that point. Because some would say, well, if there was a uh another figure brought into the home, during a remarriage, then the outcome of the child may be different, and the parent, because now they're remarried. What do you think about those dynamics, Golden? Once when someone remarries.
Oh my Lord, I'm happy you brought that up. My mom remarried, and I would love to speak on this topic because it about to get messy. It about to get messy. My mom got remarried, like I said, and she got remarried to a Hispanic man. So he's not black, he's Hispanic. And I did not like him off rip. Only because he to me, I felt the energy. Like I didn't like him off rip. I felt the energy. But I can say a part of that because I miss my dad. But I wasn't disrespectful. I wasn't a type of child, but I didn't like him. But I did stand my ground because I didn't know this man and I was very protective of my mom. Like where I'm from, we from the hood. So a man that you come in the household, I don't know if you could be, gang related, you could be crazy. So I was very intellectual and protective of my mom. So my mom and my dynamic is horrible. I'm gonna say horrible because she pays half the bills, he pays the other half the bills. But it got to a point where my mom cooks every day. She watches the kids every day. She's paying half the bills. She's cleaning up every day. He'll probably clean 1 or 2 dish. Or he'll probably clean when she say clean up. But it shouldn't be, I have to tell you to clean up for you to clean up. Or on top of it, he don't really spend time with his kid. He don't. He was very biased when it came to his child and me and my sister. Because when it came to his child, he gave his kid, for example, he talked about, oh, I'm going to give my kid a car and all these different things. Mind you, I was in high school at the time. So I'm like, you could buy me a car. I graduated. He didn't buy me no gifts. Halloween, Christmas came up. He didn't buy me no gifts. Birthdays came up. He didn't buy me no gifts. This, listen, when I tell you, I tell you is my mom, that would cause the divide between me and my mom relationship because I don't believe in step. I don't believe in step parents. Like, listen, whoever I have a kid by, he's gonna be their dad because I'm traumatized after the situation. It didn't work because I feel like as a man, I feel like that will affect me, my mom's relationship. On top of that, it also showed me like you can't just cling on to a man or self-validate to fulfill me. My mom settled. She settled because she couldn't find. She didn't want to wait, and she was rushing. I feel like a part of her, she allowed her certain things happen in the household, such as my mom's a drunk. She drinks all the time. As a man, you supposed to tell your wife, it's so weird. My mom wears the pants. He wears the shirt. Like, if you come to my household, my mom, she tells him what he needs to do. She makes all his appointments. She books everything for him. It's like you see, it's crazy to me. So I don't like. I'm a firm believer. Like I do believe there's some good stepfathers, but women do a good background check because my mom didn't do that, and she been married for 10 years, and I do see I do see his cards and I do see his hand and I do see how he playing the game, but she don't see it because she's so in love. And I'm like, it shouldn't take 10 years to build somebody up. I don't believe in building somebody up. I believe in holding them down. But if you have to physically build somebody up, where then, mind you, this man is old. Like, he's within his 40s or 30 years old. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, background check immediately.
Golden, do you have siblings? Like, how many siblings do you have?
So I have, I have one sibling on my dad's side, allegedly one sibling, 2 siblings on my dad's side, but allegedly I had a brother in Africa, but I have 2 siblings on my mom's side, but they all had different dads. So basically my mom name is after all our dads. So I have my dad name, my sister have her dad name, and the boy, he have his dad name. But my mom was not married to our dads, me and my sister dad. My sister, she's valued herself through men because she didn't have a dad in the household. I was very disciplined. I was very sexually disciplined. I was very aware of men. Like I was so smart and I was with women, but I just feel like he was not a man in my opinion. Like he wasn't a man in my opinion. And that's not no disrespect. That's reality. You come to my household, my mom is the man. She's the one who pays the bills. She's the one who cooks the food. She's the one who cleans the house. She's the one who and that's why I don't want to, I'm sorry.
Well, so without you don't have to answer this, but I am going to ask a question, but you don't have to answer it, okay? If you don't want to, if you don't feel comfortable. Do you have children yet?
No, and I'm scared to have kids.
Okay.
I'm scared to have kids only because I don't want to be put in the same predicament my mom was put in.
Mhm.
And not saying her situation is bad, but to me, I'm very protective of my mom. And I'd rather not talk to her and her get the message from me than her getting hurt by that man and he taking her money. Or because people with tenants, people will wait after the person pass on to take all their money, to take all their inheritance, to be nasty to the kids. And I already see how he playing the game. So for my mom to understand how I feel, she don't put me on the phone with him. We don't talk. He know I don't talk to him. He already know. If he hits me on the phone, he's quiet because I don't talk to him. I already told him, we're not friends. We're not buddies. I don't like you. You're not a man. Like, I would respect him fifth if he would have the initiative to say, you know what, you need to stop drinking. But he got to a point where he started talking about my mom. He got, yo, he talked behind her back. He did. He started talking behind her back. It was fights in the household. Like, I'm trying to tell you, it was giving my mom the man and he's the woman. Like, it gave that. Like, it gave that. My mom was doing everything in the house, and she had opened her own door. It was just It's just like, I personally feel like they need divorce, but she don't want to divorce him because she feel like I'm wrong because I tell her, like, you don't know this man from a can of paint. 10 years don't mean nothing to me because I have seen people be mad for 20 years and man do them grimy. So you don't think this man is not going to do grimy? And not saying he's a bad person. I just think that how he presents himself as a man and me being a woman, I can tell you I have cousins who are manly. Like, they open the doors for their women. They take the lead. If you get what I'm trying to say, yeah.
Okay. I get. I. So. Okay. Are you over 21?
Who, me? Yes,
Yeah.
I'm 22.
22. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, there's still time. For you.
They,
Yeah. I
it
mean,
is.
if you want a family, there's still time.
No, Fib. How I say this? It's like, mind you, on top of that, I seen them fight. Like, my mom will argue with him, he will argue with her. They fight in the household. Like, they will fight in the house. Like, it's just crazy to me. But I don't want a family. I don't. I wanted a family, but I'm just scared. I don't want to date somebody and he be crazy. I don't want to have a kid by somebody and he abandon me because I feel like I don't want to have that generational trauma on my kids, and then I don't want to feel like I don't want to feel like I have to validate myself through having my kids for a man to stay with me. Like, I don't want to feel like that. I want to just have my kids and be with a man who want to love me properly, but also love my kids because I'm not saying step parents are bad. I'm just saying people gotta stop jumping to step parents and rushing that with people because my
Yeah.
mom didn't do a background check on that man. She didn't. They met, they started talking, they vibed, and I guess that was from there. But she didn't see the negative what he was doing to me, So yeah.
Okay.
I actually agree with that. What you said, Fifth. You know why? Because there was I don't know if you heard about this. I think the case was back in, like, I don't know, like 2024, 2023. It was recent enough to where, like, I heard about it, right? And there was a mom who had kids, but she had married someone else, and that guy's stepson was kind of a lunatic. And so he had, like, sexual attractions to his stepsister, which was the mom's daughter. And so they went on a cruise and whatnot, and the daughter met a boy that she liked, and they got together. Then I remember got mad. He gone now. He on a lecture on vacation. Prior to that, I had this guy. Rooms or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then the mother was so blinded by, like, the fact that she was with her new, she didn't know where in front of. So what was the mom didn't want to look to them, mom prioritizing the new man and over her children. Marriages. I feel like having a step parent is a risk. It's not like, oh, I met a man and he's going to be really good. You really gotta. I feel like not that you want to vet the person you're going to be with, but assuming how do I say this? You don't know what's going to happen in your life, right? Whether you're going to be with someone for your life or get divorced, you don't know that, right? But you want to aim to be with one person for the rest of your life. If you have that intention on your side, but it still don't work out, okay, cool. Now, if you want to find somebody else and you're looking, if you do a really hard background check, otherwise you're gonna have problems with the guy or the girl.
I'm gonna just say this. You know what? Beyond, I agree with you. Now I'm gonna say this. The guy I'm married, he's not a bad person, and because I would never bash somebody's character or bash no man character, but I would say his actions don't show me why I should respect him in a sense. Because, for example, if he would have came like a man, like, hey, I wanna, I wanna pay all the bills, and I wanna, buy you flowers, and I wanna open your door. My mom buy all the groceries. He don't give her no money for no groceries. My mom tells him how to move in life, and that's not how a relationship should be. I feel like as grown adults, we should have a better handling on how to be adults, not rely on the other gender to tell us what to do and how. Because then that's me, like, that's not right. Like, that's me taking care of somebody, and why would I take care of a grown man who's older than me? He's older than her. That's kind of crazy to me. So I don't know, but. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, it's all mutual. I'm cordial with him. We don't have no conversation. There's no conversation needed. I just have boundaries, and I have respect, and I love my mom enough to sit here and say, I love you because you're my mom. But regarding to me and him, there's no conversation needed. Mind you, me and his family don't talk. I don't talk to his family. He don't talk to me. I don't talk to him. We're cordial like that. There's no need to us to kumbaya because I have my own dad, and me and my dad do talk and stuff like that. And I just don't want to take that spot from my dad. I just don't, because I personally feel like it's like kind of disrespectful. Like, honestly, it's kind of disrespectful. You take that position and give it to another man who's not even doing that supposed to do it. Like, they're not, like, it's kind of crazy. It's like you taking that spot from the dad who left you to give it to somebody who's not even trying to be active. So that's kind of backwards. So me and my dad relationship is getting better slowly, and I like that, and I'd rather just keep it like that.
So,
Go ahead. A lot to take in. I know.
I mean, like, I got a question, but I don't think I should ask it. Only because we don't really know each other yet. I want to be respectful of that. Let me kind of just move this on. So the parent dynamic definitely plays a big role. You have you do have situations where the parent never moves on, never remarries, or they just wait until the kids are grown. So I guess the question I want to ask is, after a divorce, should the parent wait till the children are 18 to get to date again, or no? What do y'all think? Goldie, you there? Okay.
I'm here. So
Yeah. I
what
was
you
asking.
saying?
Yeah, I was asking, should the parent? I said as far as the whole step parents thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, should the next question be, should the parent who should the parents after the divorce, should they wait till the children are 18 to start dating again, or what? What do you think?
Good that you asked me that question, because so I would say this. I think the parents should wait, but not 18. Probably wait 14, 15, or like 16. Because I'm not gonna lie, my mom met him when I was young, and I couldn't fully comprehend who was he, because he was not active like that man. When I tell you, my mom broke my whole room. He didn't buy me nothing. Every birthday party, he didn't give me a gift. He was not the type of, like, he was just a man that walked around there just to walk around, and and that was really it. We don't talk. We didn't have like, for example, if I needed men advice, I wouldn't go to him. Because mind you, I predominantly date black men, and he's Latina. Why would I? And that was another issue because I'm like not saying. Okay, I'm gonna say this like not to be like rude, but I'm a black woman and all I date is black men. So why would I go to a Latino man or Hispanic man who are not a black man and say, hey, well my boyfriend X Y Z? Because I don't know. You get it. It makes sense because he don't understand. He don't understand a black man mentally or physically, so he wouldn't get it. On top of that, he didn't give me men advice. So my mom was the one to say. She said she told him to go outside. He would go right outside. If she told him to get the mail, he got the mail. Like he was the wife. I'm not gonna lie. He was the woman in the relationship. I'm not gonna lie. Like. She was controlling the room, and I ain't gonna lie, she controlling the room. But I'm saying just wait until they get like 14, 15, 16. Not off rip, you know?
Okay. So you said that he had kids of his own. Okay. I think she had to do something. But
What you said? I'm sorry, say it again.
yeah, I heard you say earlier that he had kids of his own before they got married, right?
So no, so he has so my mom got pregnant and she basically carried his kid, right? This
Okay.
only child, but he's not a dad. Like in my opinion, he don't take that boy for basketball, baseball. He don't socialize with his kid. Like the most he probably do, it probably go out. But that's probably here or there. My mom is really in tune with her son. And another topic I want to bring going is moms treat sons better than daughters. I was my half brother, because I wouldn't call him my brother because he's not my half brother because he's not from my dad and he's from my mom, but he's not from my dad, so he's my half brother. My half brother, right? He got new clothes, new shoes, new everything. My mom drinks all the time. So she would start arguments with me and my sister. Never him. Never the man, never the boy. It was me and my sister. To the point where it got annoying. So, but on top of that, there were multiple fights in the household. He would just sit back and be quiet and just be in a room. Mind you, he's a man. So if you see two girls fighting, or you see somebody fighting in your household, you're gonna dictate something like, shut up, be quiet, like, y'all need to stop fighting. But he didn't do that. Like, he let certain things happen. That's why I don't respect him. Because as somebody who supposed to be the man, you're supposed to control the whole room and say, you know what? Y'all need to stop fighting and like come to a common ground, but he didn't do that. So yeah, I mean I wouldn't get no step parent with my child. I feel like after I have a baby with my man, after having 10 kids with my man, ain't nobody getting this cookie after that. I'm gonna just be I'm going after that. I'm gonna just be single with a baby with 10 kids. I'm scared. Fit that traumatized me, Fifth.
I mean, but it doesn't sound peaceful though, because I'm not saying you could be missing out or not, but I mean, I still heard in what you said, although you said you were traumatized, that you still would like a man, a loving man and potentially a family at some point. So that's still there, you know. So I don't know. I think. Well, I have a question because you're talking about. Did your father ever remarry? I ain't even asked that question. Did he remarry?
My father, interesting question. My father is the most interesting one. Like, he's really funny, but he almost got married to an African woman in Africa. That's why I say I have a legend brother in Africa. And they met, but they broke up because he claiming she was out here being tricking. And I told my dad, like, you can't be trusting women who from different countries because some of them be having dudes on the side. Some of them be scamming you. Some of them, like, because mind you, he met her in person, but her story didn't line add up. Her story didn't line up with what she was saying. She's saying how she went to school in Harvard, and then she went back to Africa to teach kids in Africa. But the time being, I never once met her. I didn't see her in real life. Like, I didn't even meet her. Like, my dad is he got phobias. He very schizophrenic, and he believes the world gonna end, and he believes everybody's up to get him. So he's have it's called phobia. It's called phobia something. Phobia or something. But he had that. So he's very, skittish when it comes to people, outside world, and like safety. Like, my dad would blow my phone up 30 times to make sure I'm okay.
Is that something he had when your mother and your father before they had you? Is that something that he always was, or that happened later on? I don't know how to quantify that. Just curious.
Me and my dad didn't talk when I was younger. But when I got like 14, 13, 15, that's when we was talking. I don't know if my mom did it on purpose or he made a choice to talk to me. I don't know who made that, but I didn't. But he was just like that. But I didn't tell my dad about the dude, my husband, because my dad, I don't know what he might do about his kids. Some parents don't play about their kids. And now that I'm older, I don't talk to that man no more. I don't see that man no more. So I feel the need not to bring that up. But because it was multiple times in the household where I had to take a lift to school with my own money because he didn't want to pick me up from school. And my mama advocated for that. Like, I had to take a lift. Imagine, and mind you, people are crazy. People take kids. So imagine you in high school taking a lift by yourself. Your mom not trying to, say, hey, are you okay? Because you stepping in a random car going to school back and forth. On top of that, he didn't take me driving. I had to force him to take me driving. That's why I don't know how to drive now, but I do have a car. Financial literacy was a big problem because my mom didn't teach me about finances. I didn't go to college because my mom, she didn't want to pay for my tuition and stuff like that. But it was a lot of issues regarding me and my mom. And I feel like he, I see like a lot of like TikTok and stuff like that and stuff. And I see other stepfathers chipping in and paying tuition and stuff like that. He was not like that. So I don't know. I personally feel like if I ever do get married and I have kids by somebody, that's gonna be their dad, and I'm not ever have no man touch me after that. I'm not. After that, I'm traumatized. I'm traumatized.
So yeah, right. So you want to get it right the first time, but Golden, I do want to add this to the conversation. Can someone have a healthy relationship if they're traumatized?
Yes and no. Me, I would say no. No. Because I'm not healed. I still have triggers. Like my mom, so she was alcoholic where, remember how I told you? She will argue with me and my sister. It got to a point where I was fighting at 14, 15, fight my sister, fight my mom at 14, 15. I kept being told I'm gonna get kicked out. My mom used to verbally abuse me really badly. She would say things like the B word, and call me out my name, and call her family, and do things like that. So when a man tell me something, that's why I tell men all the time, like, I don't like when men yell at me. I don't like when men come at me aggressively, because then I feel like I'm getting attacked. So I have to put my guard up. And I do cry sometimes when I feel like that, because it's like people hurt my feelings. It's like it could be the small minor things I'm gonna cry, because it's like that hurt my feelings. I see it as like you coming at me sideways, or you trying to hurt my feelings,
Yeah. All right. Let me get to my brother Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus, what up, man?
What's good, man? Yeah.
What's going on, brother? You see this topic here, man. Who suffers more after divorce, the parent or the child? Go ahead, brother.
I believe that especially when they're young, they suffer more because what you do is you change the dynamics of the structure. They used to see a mommy and daddy together. They used to see a mommy and daddy in the same household. a divorce puts a strain on the kids because it affects them in major ways, more ways than one. Because when you think kids are not watching you, they're watching you. When you think kids are not paying attention, they're paying attention, and they see the interaction, they see the tension, and they feed off of that. The parents may lose money when they get divorced, because you do. Yeah, the man, when he separates from his wife, usually the men leave and then he wind up paying child support for the kids. But the kids, young kids, because they're like kids are like sponges, and they feed off of bad vibes, bad energy. And if they feel it and they sense it, and then all of a sudden now, daddy up and leave or mommy up and leave, or divorce split them up. So in a way, it affects them in more ways than one. When you think about it, it affects them more ways than one. So I would say the kids get affected more than the parent. Parents get affected financially and sometimes emotionally too. Yes, but kids, because they're so young and tender, they get more affected by it. In a way, you know how that they get affected by it. How they act in school, how they act, their behavior changes. The interaction changes, and they're more, instead of them being instead of them being the way they used to be, now it just changes their whole demeanor. They're more, and it affects they're more withdrawn. They more start to daydream. It affects even their academics, their performance in school. It affects and in major ways, it damages them. So I say it affects the kids, especially when they're young, more than the adults, I would say. Yeah.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you, love. I think that,
Yeah.
for example, if my mom remarries to somebody new, right? Would that affect my brother? I mean, not really. 'Cause I don't think. I mean, yeah, because he's like 8 years. No, he's like 11 years old. But he not gonna really care because, like I said, his dad not really like active in his life. So it's like, for example, imagine seeing your dad every day, but your dad don't take you outside to play basketball, football. Your dad don't push you. Like my cousin dad was more involved with his son with football. So when you don't have that relationship with your father, right, it can cause you not to like be like for neglect. And I firstly feel like he may care in the sense of like, damn, like that's my dad, but he gonna care. He gonna also feel like, damn, you wasn't really involved in my life.
Yeah. That's a fact. You see it. Yeah. Yep.
Man, I think the child rearing dynamics, play a role into the suffering part as well. The kid may simply suffer more, not so much because of the divorce per se. I mean, yeah, there's the divorce, but then it's how the parent that they spend the most time with raises them. So then you have that plays a role.
I agree totally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Your interaction with the child. Yeah. Because kids, kids can have parents around them, but there is a thing called isolation, where the parent is so busy, or the parent is preoccupied, that they forget to connect with their kids. And you have to connect with your kids. You really do. You got to talk to them, because they could be hiding some things from you. They could be. It's a lot of things. Kids hide things anyway, because kids. that's what they do. But when you interact, when you have a connection with them, you're in a better standing with them. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're in a better standing with them.
You know,
But
what I would say though.
yeah.
My fault. Go ahead, Chris. You go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that. You know what is funny about some kids? Some kids will use the fact that their kids. Some kids will use the fact, right, that their parents are divorced to like get things out of them. Like kids aren't as like. I'm not saying that it's every time, obviously, But I am saying that it is important
Yeah.
for us to not like completely underestimate the wit of kids, because kids can definitely like use things to their advantage. Like at a certain age, kids know the difference between right and wrong, and they
That's
have
right.
a certain
Yeah.
level of logic
Yeah.
to them. They're not dumb.
Mm-hmm.
So like I do feel like sometimes kids take advantage of it, and then
Oh
have
yeah.
parents cater to. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that in there and see if y'all.
I agree with that. Yeah, kids do hide things. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Some of them they use it at an advantage. Some kids do that. Yeah. I mean, yeah. To
But you
be
know,
misbehave. Yeah.
but you know what? But you know what? I think it's all about structure and it's all about structure and how you raise your kids. Because me personally, I better feel like this. When it comes to kids, you have some kids where parents give their kids free will, like, oh, we're friends and I'm your best friend and we're gonna be, and that's the problem. We gotta stop being our kids' friend and start
Yeah.
being parents. And
Parents. Right.
I
Right.
had to learn that because I was cool with my mother. I was so cool with my mother. I really like, how to say this? Like, my sister was so cool with my mother, right? My mom allowed her certain things to go ahead. Like, for example, my sister got pregnant at 18, right? She had a baby at 19. So my mom told her, my mom was being a parent, but my mom was also being her friend as well. And my sister didn't take her seriously. She got pregnant, had a baby. The baby daddy is not in her, not like her and baby daddy not together no more. They had issues, stuff like that. But the whole premise is, as parents, we have to isolate that friendship, buddy, because we're not friends. I be seeing too many TikTok where the kids talking to their mothers and fathers how they want to talk to. That's what I mean with structure, like a military, like hut, get in position so they can know when to sit down, like when to sit down and stand up. Because I don't. That's a problem. We have people who want to be friends with their kids and not be parents, and then they young. I don't support kids having kids. I don't support that. I feel like as a parent, we have to do our job and due diligence to give our kids the tools, not them to experience. Like that's no. Kids need to be kids, and I feel like as people, we're condoning, we're glorifying so many things for these kids.
Yeah, kids need structure. They guess what, they honor that as they get older. And then certain things they know that their mommy and daddy won't tolerate certain things. So the old Jamaican said it goes monkey know which limb to climb on. If you learn how to have structure in your home, kids were in certain things kids would know not to do automatically. They'll know, okay, I can't do this, I can't do that. If I do this, I'll get on punishment. They know certain things so certain lines they wouldn't cross. But these days, man, when your friends' kids, they challenge you even when you put discipline in place. But imagine if you don't put discipline in place and you don't put structure in their life. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
you create a monster.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I'm now learning, right? Like last night I was on a panel, right? And I do want I do want a parent's advice because I want to have my kid. I want to have, okay. I know I do want to have kids by next year because I am getting better. I am healing and stuff like that. But I do want to have kids. I want to have kids young. I'm 22, but I want to have kids probably 25 or 23 because I want to experience, parenthood and just settle down and just take care of kids, or I mean adopt. But some parents said some parents said they get them kids decision making and let them decide what they want, X, Y, and Z. And I told people, I was like, no, I feel like as parents, we have to be big on being parents and big on social awareness of the dangers. I told him my kid is not going to no friend's house. My kid is not going to no girlfriend, boyfriend house. My kids are not having boyfriends. My kids are not having social media. My kids only going to have is a book, a bed, a TV, and school. All of this tablet at 8 years old and all of these things is not necessary. What do they need a tablet for if they got a phone?
I mean, I'm not
No.
saying. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No. I'm gonna be a strict parent. Now people are lenient, and I had lenient. My mom was very lenient to where I can go outside at 8 o'clock at night, come back. I could bring a dude in the house, X, Y, and Z. I could do a type of stuff, but I didn't have structure. And maybe because I didn't have structure, but I just believe in
Yeah,
like
man.
strict. You gotta be strict. You gotta be strict on your kids because people are getting. It's not because I want to be, but I have to be. Because imagine your daughter being on the phone with an 81-year-old or a grown ass man who
Can
pretending to
I
be.
answer the prompt after her, Fifth?
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
Well, well, well,
Go ahead.
yeah, man. Hold on. Golden, did you land your plane? Because then I'm gonna let the new people talk.
Yeah,
Just to
I
kind of
landed.
act.
I landed. I know they about to come at me sideways.
Nah, nah,
They
nah,
about to
nah,
start
I'm
eating me
calling
up in
it
the air
the.
to spare them.
I'm talking about
nah,
the prompt. I'm talking about
nah,
the
Golden.
prompt.
It doesn't have to be up here. I keep a strict program. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we hold it
So,
down
so
over here. I'm talking about the prompt. I wasn't about to come at you.
yeah. So
Oh,
man.
you're fine. I was just joking.
Cause I
So
sent you a DM last week. You ain't never holler back. So
oh, y'all know each other. Oh, okay. So man of many up here.
yeah,
You don't curse up here, man. TikTok friendly language, all right?
I
So
got you.
the prompt is who suffers more after divorce, the parent or the child? And then after you, I'm gonna get the ruthless. Go ahead.
I bet. Yeah, I was trying to take you out, Golden. I DM'd you last week. But who suffers more after divorce, the parent or the child? I think the parent suffers more. We got this misconception that like the parent is like the end all be all for a child. Like, nah, I beg to differ. Like for real, you know what I mean? The parent suffers big time. You know what I mean? Because a child gonna be. You gotta remember, a child is a person, and who they are is already, you know what I mean, in their DNA. Once that egg get cracked, who they are is already within that DNA capsule. Now, all you doing as a parent is giving them the tools needed. But who they gonna be is who they gonna be. I done seen people get raised like a military person and still end up making bad choices. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it ain't about like divorce or not. Like that kid or that person gonna be who they gonna be. At the end of the day, when they divorce though, now you out here like a stray dog walking around sniffing butts. You see what I'm saying? Looking foolish. I was talking to somebody yesterday. You got all these old women now that's trying to be too young. Like, what you trying to live your life over again? Like, come on, man. Like, you got kids at the crib, because I work at the traveling agency. You got these women 50, 45 years old walking around, flight attendants with cell phones in their face in the sky like they little kids. Look, I mean, they look good. I ain't taking nothing away from them. That's one thing they gonna make sure of. They gonna make sure they look good. But other than that, like, what else? I mean, what's good? Like, where your family at? Like, what a family reunion function every year? What a cookouts at? That's why I came up on all the adults was focusing on the kids. Now when you divorce, bro, you get to a point where you just focus on you. And that ain't it. That's not what life's about. Like, what are you leaving here? What are you gonna leave here? A pretty picture of yourself? You know what I'm saying? Because you gonna leave here one day. So what are you just gonna leave? Oh, she was bad, or he was handsome. Like like you gotta leave some type of legacy behind, man. And so I think the parent suffers more. I land.
That's what's up.
Yeah, that's what's up.
And to go there, like you gotta remember you say she's not gonna get no tablet. I used to think that way too until I kind of adapted. Hey, technology is where we at now, and it ain't going nowhere. So it's only gonna get more and more advanced. So it's like to rid your child of that, it's like you crippling them. Like I heard Kanye West said, we all like teachers in school and college, they always teaching us history. So he said that Americans are so like overly traditional that we forget to move forward. And I was like, damn, that's dope. That's true. Like we so overly like traditional that we it's hard for us to be creative and create new and think progressive and think forward. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think ridding them from like that type of stuff would like make them any better, because that is the world that we live in now. So they have to know those things. I would say just give it a little more boundary. Like just don't let them be free with it. That's what the real answer is, discipline. That's what these kids is missing.
I'm just saying this, right? I mean, I totally hear you, but it's just me for example. For me, for a fact, I grew up without no phone. I had a TV, a bed, and a bathroom, and I went outside. My mom, she always said this: if you go outside, I had to be outside with you because we lived in the hood, and we still live in the hood, XYZ. But the whole premise is this: is when I didn't have a phone, I cooked, or I used my imagination to do things, or I hung out with family, but I would prefer that any day than have a phone, because every day I get up, somebody's on my phone talking about something messy. Like, I don't want my kid to ever
So how
be
many kids do you have?
No. So I want to have kids, but
So how come you ain't let me take you out there?
we're not on that right now. We're on what I'm talking about. We're not on that right now. But what I was saying, is I want my kid to have structure and discipline, especially because when you sit back, I feel like there's a lot of trafficking going on, a lot of catfishing, and every day my son or my daughter step outside, right? I have to think as a parent, somebody is looking at them, somebody is watching them, and it's not being fearful, it's being socially aware of the dangers, because I don't want to be a parent that, like, you know what? Go outside, stay outside until the street lights come on and come back in, and then Johnny to come home for 24 hours, and now I'm like, where my kid at? Because at the end of the day is that's society that happens. My kid ain't never till my kid get like 17, 14, 17 or like 18, he get a phone. Until then, he gonna either mow lawn, he gonna
17,
build
18. That
yeah, he
motherfucker
gonna
be
mow
crippled as
lawn.
shit by the time he get 19.
Huh?
Language, man.
Oh, my bad. Oh, you did say that.
Yeah.
My bad. Hey, by the time he 19, he gonna be so left behind. He ain't gonna know how to be adjusted with his age group.
No, because he gonna be in the military. My kid. Like I said,
Military.
hold on, love. Listen. Whoever I marry, my man gonna know. I want my son enlisted into the army, military.
You got a lot of aspirations.
Because my son gonna be disciplined sexually, mentally,
Yeah,
and
by the end of the
physically.
day, when you marry, your husband gonna be the leader. So you gonna have to yield to what he say.
Well, I mean, not really, because when it comes
There ain't
to
not really. And I'm not saying
no,
that in a
not
bad way. When you
but
love a man, when a woman loves a
go
man,
ahead.
that's a part. That's a part of her loving him.
No, but when
When
it
a
comes
woman. All right, go ahead. You got all the answers. Go ahead.
right, when it comes to kids, it's not just his way or say so,
It
because at the end
is his way. He's the leader.
no, it's
All
not.
right. You know everything. I'm trying to give you game, little sis.
I
You
really
know what I'm
don't want
saying?
that game, because that's not how I want it in my
You never been in
household.
love, so you
How
don't
you gonna
know.
keep having been in love? I had been in love
I'm talking
before.
about love like married.
Yes, I'm gonna engage, love.
I said married.
I almost got married.
No,
I
I
was
said
engaged.
married though. Now I almost jumped the fence.
I was engaged, but I
Yeah, I
almost got
said
married.
married. I didn't
Right,
say
I didn't get married yet, but I was
yeah,
in
so
love
you
for
don't know
years.
how. All right, I ain't trying to argue. I'm trying to give you game, little sis. But if you know it
No,
all, you
but
know it
I'm
all.
fine.
Yeah,
I'm
you know it
fine.
all.
I'm
I know you
fine.
know it all. That's what's wrong with our community now.
No, I don't think I know it all. I just think that when it comes to kids, you cannot just sit here and say that the guy knows everything,
I didn't
because
say he know everything, but he's the leader of the household. And when a
okay,
woman loves a man, that's a part of her loving him. She wants to relinquish ownership to him. When a woman truly loves a man, she feels good that she can relinquish control to her man. That's what make her love him so much. Cause she can trust that he gonna lead her out the jungle into
are you done?
paradise.
Are you done? Okay, first and foremost, right, when it comes to having kids,
Until you
it's
get that, until you
love, because
find that,
you said what you had to say and you
until
cut
you
me
find
off.
that,
Hey,
When
hey,
it
then
comes,
let's one mic. Let's one mic, all
thank
right?
you, because
until you find that, then you know what love is.
sweetheart, first and foremost,
Until you find
when
that,
it
you just
comes,
Man,
talk
I'm
running
not
your
going back and
mouth.
man,
forth.
hold on, man. Let Golden respond, because
Thank you, because he wants to
I
over
mean, but
dominate the
it can't
conversation.
be frugal
Like,
though.
but
can you have some emotional control,
man,
please?
let
Because
Golden respond, because if you keep repeating the same thing, That's not moving the conversation. Let Golden respond, and you can respond. All right, go ahead,
Thank
Golden.
you. And that shows the viewers that you cannot emotionally control yourself. While I'm not yelling at you, I'm not coming at you sideways, but for you to make assumptions about my dating life and tell me what I don't know, you don't know me enough to tell me I have not been in love yet. I have been in love. Almost I got engaged. We didn't work because we were on two different playing fields. All up to him. Second of all, right, when it comes to the household, right, if me and the man is together, we call compromising. Just because he's the lead of the household does not mean I don't have a say so or I can put my input on my kids. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to kids, y'all both have a say so. Y'all both have to sit down and make boundaries and make expectations of which our kids like what set of rules. I'm not gonna sit up here and marry somebody who thinks like that, because you're basically saying since he's the man, he can tell our kids what he want to tell them. My opinion, my perspective don't matter. So that's not right to me. And I personally feel like I'm a found believer of compromising, redirecting, and understanding. If my man tell my kids, hey, you can have candy at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I don't believe that because he's the man, he's right, that don't make sense. Because that idea of submissive goes in both ways when it comes to men and women, and they function differently. But when it comes to kids, y'all both have to have equally ground. You're speaking on an intimate level when it comes to the household. I'm speaking on a social level. You're using submissive to apply to the kids. You cannot do that, because when it comes to kids, you cannot add kids in your relationship, or you cannot add kids in that submissive context. Why? Because submissive only happens between a man and a woman when they are in love, not man and woman and kids. Second of all, when you do have kids, that submissive is still going to be active, but now you have to try to work around with. Now you have to also try to use. How do I say it? You have to also not apply to your kids, but you have to also try to function with your kids. So you're using submission correlating to your kids, and submission was never used correlating to kids. It was used to correlate to men and women. So I don't know what you're talking about, love. Like, and please do not DM me. I'm cool.
Okay, let me just say something real quick. Sunday, I'm doing a live event. For those who are listening, Sunday I'm doing a special event. I'm going live, doing a marathon stream for 12 hours, from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. Sunday, this upcoming Sunday, July 19th, is the first annual marathon stream. I like to call it the Follow-thon, Road to 1,000 followers, multiple topics, multiple co-hosts. Those who check it out. All right, this Sunday, starting at 12 p.m. Eastern time. All right. So back to the conversation. So the thing about this topic is just mainly just of course it's going to be a matter of opinion, but then there's also just many ways to answer it. This is a very open way to open topic that can have a lot of questions, multiple questions, and I guess it kind of boils down to this, right? Because on my Monday show, Fifth at Night on YouTube, I asked my panelists this question: who's more responsible for explaining to the children why they got a divorce? The one who files for divorce or the one who caused it? What do you think, Golden?
I think you said the one who filed a divorce or one who. I'll probably say I think both parents are responsible for the conversation. I think both of them need to be in the room. I personally feel like because one could say one thing or other could say another thing. So I think to set the ground of everything, just both of them just sit down and they come to agreement and they explain to the kid. Because I have seen parents where the one who filed it was popping it, like talking about the parent, or the parent like, oh yeah, they knew X, Y, and Z, and I saw the one who brung it up was doing the same thing. So I think to create less drama, they both just come to agreement, sit down. But also, what I want to say to that man, right, to that king, because I'm still respect him because it's all love. I don't disrespect men. At the end of the day, is when you apply submission, submission is only correlated to men and women. But I also want to say this is the functionality is the biggest thing when you submission. If you are, for example, if you are a submissive woman to your man, right? That functionality within the household can be shown, be shown to the kids, right? They're gonna see mom is doing X, Y, and Z and dad doing X, Y, and Z. But you cannot apply submission to kids because you have to understand that submission was never applied to kids, and kids don't even understand how submission is work. When you basically said I had to look what my power as a woman, mind you, I sat down for 9 months, sickness, throwing up, talking about because he's a man, he have power over me because he's a man, and I have no say so. I just have to submit to everything he says. You have a negative connotation how submission works. Submission is not applied to the kids. It's shown through the woman to the man and man to the woman to be a visual aid to the kids. That's how I'm going to say it.
Okay. Hey, so,
Hey, Fifth, how you doing, my lovely?
hey, how you doing?
Yeah, all good, my love, all good. How about yourself? Beyonda, how are you as well? Golden High.
Okay. All right. So the topic is who suffers more after divorce.
Sorry,
The,
go on.
yeah, who suffers more after divorce, the parent or the child? Go ahead. So.
Okay, Golden, do go have a drink, my love. I think you should chill, relax, okay? Bless you. That was quite a lot to deal with. But anyways, so let me answer what I think, okay? Look, at the end of the day, divorce is nasty for anybody, okay? I think everyone suffers. And it's not just the parents, it's not just the children, it's the extended family, it's your cousins, it's your everybody that's kind of involved in this beautiful unit that you made for yourself, thinking that this was your forever thing. Because obviously when we go into a marriage situation, that's what we're going in with, that intention, right? So everybody suffers, okay? But, and I've got a massive caveat to this, and I can only base it on what I've gone through in my life, okay? I think it depends on the scenario. I think it depends on the situation and the reason why people have got divorced, okay? So I'll give you my scenario so that it gives a bit of context to what I'm trying to say here. If you're in a relationship or in marriage and you have children, and you know what, it's a toxic relationship, it's a home where it's hostile, where there is fear, where there is major toxicity and abuse potentially, things like that going on, it's not a nice home to be in anyways for the children, right? And neither for yourselves, I would imagine, as parents, as husband, wife, right? It's obviously not a nice environment to be in, but it's an even worse environment for children, yeah, to grow up in. So if you use that as a baseline, right? And we say, okay, this is, we're going to go for divorce, right? We're going to file for divorce, be it the man, be it the woman, whichever way it turns around, and you finally get divorced and the children move out of that situation. What you're actually doing is putting your children in a better place mentally, right? Because if they are already struggling in a household where it's not nice for them, yeah, it's not nice for them, then actually by having a divorce, it could be the lifeline that the children need. Okay. Now, I'm saying this with chest because that's exactly where I sit. That's exactly what happened to me. Yeah. My kids, I felt I was doing the right thing by staying in this relationship because I kept telling myself, I've got children. I want a family unit. A children needs a mom, a children needs a dad, you know, the traditional. And I am a traditionalist to a certain degree, you know, yes, that's ideally what anybody would want. And especially myself, that is ideal. You know, the what's it called? The house with the white picket fence, the dog, or you know, the things that people say, right? That is something that I would have wanted for my children. But when you are in that sort of a situation and your children are actually suffering, you know, and I was sitting there thinking, I need to stay. Doesn't matter that I'm suffering. I'm a grown woman. I'm a grown ass woman. I can cope. I can deal with it. But, you know, again, be realistic on that front too. Just for women that have been in scenarios like that, there's only a certain amount that you're going to take before you break as well. Right. So I'm not advocating that people stay. But obviously I did, and I chose to, and I thought that was the right thing I was doing by my children. It got to a place and a point where I was like, you know what? Yes, I'm suffering. And now I could literally see the fear in my kids' eyes. I could literally see the anxiety that they had. And it was surfacing, you know, where they were trying to maintain it, it was surfacing. And that's when the penny dropped for me. The light bulb went on, and I was like, do you know what? What am I actually doing here? I'm staying in this relationship thinking that this is the right thing for my children, when actually it's them that are suffering the most by staying in this. So I did move away. I did take my children out of that situation. And, you know, it was the best thing I could have ever done, not just for myself as a woman, but for my children. My children are completely different children to what they were then. They are flourishing. They are, I mean, they laugh every day. We smile every day. We joke about things. Everything is very lighthearted. And this house that I have built for my beautiful girls is full of love. There's no, you know, there's no anxiety for them. There's no tension. There's no stress for them. And there's no stress for me. So I think when we think about whether children suffer coming out of a divorce, I think these are the questions that you need to ask. That, was it beneficial for them to be out of that scenario? Or is it more harmful for them to be out of that scenario? So we can't really have a blanket, yes, parents suffer more, yes, kids suffer more, because everyone's scenarios are different, right? I've just told you mine, yeah? And like I said, my children are flourishing. Thank God. Yeah, we're in a really lovely place and have been now for years. And I actually see them now, you know, doing something constructive in their lives, you know, whereas before I was worried, thinking, my God, and in fact, I still think about it now. Had we stayed, I think my kids would have just shrunk into their little, you know, into their little shells, and they wouldn't be the beautiful women that they are, and smart, intelligent women that they show themselves to be today. So, you know, I think, Fifth, it really comes down to the scenario. Why, what happened? And then you think about, okay, so is that a good place for you to move away or not? You as a partner and the children themselves. So I'll land there, but I think we need to understand, like, what is the root cause, you know, what is the ground roots of the whole thing that's going on, and only then you can, I think, kind of determine whether or not it's who's suffering, if that makes sense, guys.
So there's a level of context that I added in. Sorry, y'all, I'm washing dishes. There's a level of context that I added in earlier that I mentioned the marriage, how long the marriage was, how the marriage ended, and what age the kids were at the time of the divorce. Also plays a role into who suffers more. Yeah, so there was a lot going on earlier in the first, I'd say, 2 hours of the program about the many different nuances. No, it's okay. I'm basically just keeping you up to speed.
Yeah, great.
So once I added those, what's your opinion now?
So when you add in, give me a few of them again so that I can.
So okay, how long the parents were married, and the age of the children, and also how the marriage ended.
Yeah. So I think I spoke about how the marriage ended in the sense of like why you walked away. So I won't touch that one. But in terms of the age of the children, that I do believe is important, right? Obviously, when the children are younger, I think it's harder for them. It's harder for them to get their head around what's actually going on. Again, I can only talk from my own experience, Fifth, but if I try to sort of think out of the box and think on a generalized way, then I think logically, common sense would tell you that if the children are very young, they're not going to understand what is actually going on here, what has happened. Why am I no longer with daddy? You know, why am I only seeing daddy once a week or whatever? And that can have a detrimental impact on children when they are young. But the thing is, again, look, if you and daddy, if mummy and daddy are amicable, right? If mummy and daddy come together and put the children first when they're young, okay? Not your own issues and your own problems. Deal with that on the phone or whatever. When it comes in front of the children, if you can be amicable and still be apart, you can work together on the communication towards to the children to help them, yeah? To help them gain, to help them feel that they haven't lost everything. So that they see they have the best of both, and that can work. You can make it work. It just means the communication needs to be tight between two of you. And even if it doesn't matter what problems you guys are fighting, right? Or what led to the divorce, it doesn't matter when it comes to how you deal with your children, because your children are mummies and daddies. So you both have a responsibility to ensure that your children are okay. So as long as you can come together, even when they're very young, and you work collectively, you can co-parent, things like that. And in time, the children are very, it's very shocking to me sometimes, when I see how strong kids are and how kids bounce back, they're not as, as soft as you would think. Then generally speaking, obviously I can't say that for all kids. Generally speaking, kids are very resilient is the word I was looking for. Very resilient. So as long as you play it well in front of them, and in terms of how you communicate together collectively, then I think children will grow out of it and will understand. If they are older kids, obviously they're going to have a little bit more of an understanding because you'll be able to explain to them, you'll be able to talk to them. And I'm not being funny if there's so many people. If you look around, there's so many families that are divorced with single mums, single dads. There's so much of it. Even when it happened with my kids, and they were relatively young, not too young, but relatively young. But they knew that, look, it happens. They know people that have in similar situations, right? So if they're older, they're going to get their head around it probably a little more quicker, easier, I would say. And in terms of length of marriage, that's an interesting one. I think, look, if you've been married for a long, long, long time, then that's going to be really hard on you as well, as well as the children. I think it will be, but I think more so on yourselves at that point, because when you have a bond with somebody, a love with somebody that kept your marriage going for so many years, to be able to then walk away from that, I can only imagine, right? Obviously, I don't know, but I can only imagine it must be very, very difficult. So I think the longer the marriage is, I think it would be more harder on the parents, because the children would have been grown up, they would have grown through it all and probably living their own lives. The problem comes when you and your partner decide to separate after so many years, and you've obviously aged a certain amount. Listen, I don't age at all, right? I'm just saying, just putting it out there. but we age, right? We get older. Life, it becomes harder to then find and get yourself back in the dating game and all of that, to try and rebuild your life with someone else when you've been with someone for so long. Habits, things you're used to, the dream that you had, So that takes a lot of time, I think, for people, parents specifically, adults specifically, to get their heads over. I don't think that's easy. And I think a lot of people suffer with that a lot, to be honest. And sometimes people don't even ever recover. So, yeah, that's what I would say with the two sort of criteria that you gave, Fifth. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
It's
I
okay.
was washing dishes and my hands was wet. I didn't want to touch the phone yet.
No worries. Don't forget to dry them though, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, does that make sense though, what I'm saying? Like, because I'm kind of trying to think a little bit. Obviously, I've not been in those situations, but you can imagine, and I can, like, I spoke from my own experience, but you can imagine, and logically, certain things make sense. But we're humans, right? Sometimes nothing makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, look, I gave an example. A couple who was married for 20 years waited 10 years before they had their first child. So they've been married longer than the child's existence.
Wow.
So with that context, how does the suffering play out then? So
Yeah, that's
I came up with that scenario earlier.
That's really hard because the suffering is going to be massive on all. Like, it's going to be massive on the parents because of the time that they're together, and then the child is young.
Yeah.
So that's a real sad situation, I would say. Not sad, it is sad, but it's a difficult situation to navigate to, when we're talking about suffering. I think that suffering is going to be unavoidable to the parents and to the child in a scenario like that.
Yeah, earlier Golden brought up this. She said, well, what if the child caught the parent ending the marriage in terms of like infidelity? She said, what if like the kids saw the mother cheat or the father cheat? That's part of the suffering as well, because they're like, oh, well, I saw you, and so now I lost respect for you.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about that, Soul?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the worst scenario ever, because it's not even the fact that your child would lose respect for you, because they will, right? Because they're built in their mind, mommy, daddy, home, it's beautifully done. So that is a big knife in the back for a child to see, right? But it's not even the fact that they would lose respect for you. It's the fact the impact is going to have on them growing up, right? As they grow older, how are they gonna visualize what relationships are meant to be? How are they gonna comprehend what a marriage is meant to be? Because that's gonna put something in their minds. I mean, that's inevitable, right? It's gonna put something in their minds where they're gonna think, oh, well, it's okay to do that in a marriage, and it will have repercussions on those children as they go through life in the future, unless they get help, professional help, I assume, right, to help them understand what's gone on. But it's not just the disrespect to them, it's really a long-term potential suffering for the child that's had to endure that, to be honest.
Does seeing your parents, or I mean, it could be generally, it could be personal, but does a child's look on marriage change once they see their parents divorce?
No, I don't agree. I don't think so. I think, look, the reason I say that is, again, like, I can only go back by my own experience, and I don't think my divorce or anything has affected my girls in their thoughts of marriage and things like that. They knew where we were was wrong. And actually, it's a good lesson I taught them, because they now know if it's not good, you don't need to stay. If it's wrong and you are hurting, I'm not talking little things, I'm not talking like he didn't flush the chain after that. I'm not talking little things. When it's a horrible, toxic environment, the one thing I have done is I've taught my children, you don't need to stay. You don't need to, and you don't deserve to be treated like that. So in my situation, I think I've taught them that going forwards in life, and it hasn't clouded their judgment on marriage at all. No. Not at all. My eldest is like, yeah, we're messy. Come on, let's go. Like, we're watching the football, like, Mom, or and it's all positive. It's all positive. I don't feel any negative toward them. In fact, I feel they're much more clued up and much more engaged in reality, because this is reality. It happens, So I think they realize. They always say to me, Mum, if you find someone, the right person for you, they'd be really happy for me. So what does that tell me? That means that they haven't lost their mind, lost their thoughts on the institution of marriage or relationships. Because if they had, they wouldn't be telling me that. So I do think that, it goes back to what they've seen, what they've gone through. All of these things will matter because it will shape them as a grown up going forwards.
I would say yes in my perspective, because I just think that how I was raised, my mom wasn't married and she got married to somebody, and seeing how her marriage was, I'm traumatized on not only marriage, but I'm also traumatized on who I feel like who I can marry and feel like who I can not marry personally. Because I sit back and I'm like, my perception of marriage is like, I don't know, because I don't want to be bonded to somebody. I don't want to feel like after 2 years you changed up. I just personally feel like my perception of marriage affected me by what I saw and my mom marriage, and that affected me. I'm not gonna lie, how I interact with men. I feel like I got better to where it's not over judging men. Because I'm not gonna lie, I thought because of her marriage, that's how a man supposed to be. But talking with other men and be with other men, I'm like, okay, they think differently, So yeah, I think to me, it definitely affects a
And
kid.
I hear you, my love, and that's why I always say to Fifth, it's really like generalizing is not the way, because everybody is different and it's going to affect people differently. Some people, like I said, with my girls, it hasn't. Yeah, thank God it hasn't. But maybe had I stayed longer, for example, let's say maybe had I stayed longer and then gone through what I've gone through, that clearly would have done that. So everybody's different in how they see things and how they challenge their energies in terms of how they deal with it, So some people it will affect.
But okay, so I want clarity, because you just say generalizing. Do you think I was generalizing, or do you think I was generalizing?
No, because you were speaking about yourself, right? You were talking about your situation. You
Okay, I
spoke
just
about
wanted to
yourself,
clarify
right?
that.
Yeah, no. What I meant by that is, like sometimes when we talk about these kind of subjects, yeah, when we generalize, like we say, like we put an all and out brush and say, no, it's just the children that suffer. That's not true. No, it's just the parents that suffer. That's not true. That's what I mean when I say we generalize, because every situation is different. Every person, what they go through and how they deal with it is different. So no, I wasn't saying you were generalizing, my love. I was just generally talking about generalizing. That sometimes we can get into that habit when we talk about subjects where we generalize, and actually, what works for one person doesn't work for someone else. You can't generalize, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
Does that
thank you
make
for the
sense?
clarity.
No problem, my love. No problem.
Yeah, because I'm not one of the people that jump to like assumptions, like you talking about me. Like, no, I like to get clarity and get full understanding.
No,
Thank you so much.
absolutely, my love. No worries.
Yeah, like I totally hear where you're coming from, because you didn't allow your divorce seep into your kid's brain, or you didn't you basically protected them,
Yeah.
and you basically protected them from that type of reality, because you felt like that type of reality, even because you didn't want them to see that negative connotation or to affect their idea, the perception of marriage. I wasn't protected. My mom still fighting to this day. I seen fights. I seen a cop being called. So how am I gonna say this?
Still today?
Girl, you never, girl, it'd be World War III up in my household. It'd be, you don't know when they're gonna fight. So be
Yeah,
prepared.
but then that's what I'm saying. If you're still like, I mean, when you were younger, but if it's still going on, obviously that's going to impact your perceptions of marriage. That's an obvious thing, right?
Yeah, yes, definitely,
Obviously.
because my mom and her husband, they fight. And I see a lot of stuff, not just that, a lot of negative stuff. that transpire in a marriage that I just don't agree with, that have definitely daunting in my relationship. So my perception on marriage is like, it's not marriage itself, it's just men. It's like, I'm kind of scared, but I'm learning to get a habit of get out of generalizing all men and get a habit of just being afraid, because I just don't want to be in that predicament, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel for you, because it's hard when you're seeing that over a long period of time. It's going to cloud your judgment on marriage, on men. It's going to make you scared. It's going to make you nervous. You're going to feel like, is this going to happen to me? Is this what men are like? And you start questioning all of these things, which rightfully anybody in your situation would, But let me tell you something, girl. Don't give up on it, because, and this is one thing I really believe in, right? Is that again, you can't paint the brush with a man, say every man is like that. That you will find your diamond in the rough. You've just got to be patient and be vigilant, right? About what you're seeing. So when you're seeing red flags, soon as you feel the red flags, And when you meet the right person and you give that a little bit of time and energy, you will know yourself. Honestly, trust me, my love, you will know yourself. Okay, maybe this is someone that I can risk it with, So try not to, I know it's difficult, but, there are some really good men out there, as there are some really good women out there. It's just a case of finding it. And maybe if you were to find something like that, that could change your perception, because that happens, that does happen. You can go through turmoil in your life and actually meet Prince Charming, that's going to whisk you away. And the most important thing to you, I would have thought, would be to have a calm relationship, a calm individual that's not going to put you through turmoil like you're seeing. And you'll know that very quickly when you meet someone. But
Well,
just be open.
for that to realistically happen, you yourself have to be the exact energy that you're saying that you want to attract, because I think we missed the point. When we have the good men, good woman talk, a lot of people think they're good people and they're not. A lot of people are really not desirable. A lot of people are not pleasant to be around. They're not nice. They're mean. There's no kindness. There's no softness in their heart at all. And then they get with certain people and they wondering why they're getting these results. And then so they just blame the gender. Yeah. But they're not really looking at themselves in the mirror. And I remember one time I had a woman, shout outs to her, because she was being very accountable. But she came to me one day and she said, "Am I really that bad?" And I had to have a one-on-one conversation with her and say, "No, it's not so much that you're really that bad, but you really are a very standoffish person. You're very standoffish. You're so introverted and in your ways that you don't see that. So then you don't understand why certain people may not be drawn to you. But then you also say you don't care. So which one is it? You either care or you don't care. And if you do care, what are you going to do to fix that part of you?"
Yeah.
I got a curious question for you, Fifth.
Go ahead.
What kind of women you be dating, bro? You be dating you be dating sisters? You date sisters, or you date Hispanics, or what you dating?
Beyond that,
What's your type, my guy? I want to know. I'm curious.
Oh, he put you on the spot, Fifth.
Listen, when it comes to vetting, I love women who are nice, kind, and sweet women. I love sweet, peaceful, calm demeanor women, man.
What kind of woman fit that bill for you in Texas?
Well, I'll just say this candidly. She's not listening to the show. I'm not going to say her name, but my last ex wasn't from this country.
Oh.
Oh.
You be pulling from outside the states.
Dang.
I
Okay.
mean, this was a woman who moved here, and I thought she was from here, but then, you start to hear an accent, and you're like, oh wow, you're not from here, you know,
Okay. Okay.
you know. Um,
That's what's up.
but she had some of the things I'm talking about. She had a level of
Right.
sweetness and kindness. We all got our faults. But there was a level of that, and I'm attracted to a woman of peace.
Mm.
A woman of peace because when you know what chaos looks like, then
Yeah.
to avoid that.
Right.
They tell you all the time, boy, don't put your hand on that stove, otherwise you'll get burned. A lot of people put their hand on a hot stove.
Yeah. 100%.
You
By
know what
then
I'm
it's too
saying?
late.
Right, and by then it's too late. But here's the thing, right? There's a level of work that I had to work on myself to attract such a woman. I had to make sure that I was patient and calm and kind. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah. Going back to your point, right? That you've got to be a certain way to attract what it is that you want to,
Yes,
which I
ma'am.
totally agree. Totally
Yeah,
agree.
because I think a lot of people think, well, I'm a good woman. I'm a good man. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Not. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
a lot of
I feel like
people
if you have
think
to
they
say
that,
that, if you gotta say
huh?
that, if you gotta say what you are,
Yeah.
then normally you're not.
Right.
Like if I say I'm a good person, well, chances are that I'm not a good person. But usually how I think it, like I usually let other people say things about me, so that way like
Exactly.
I get a better feeling about who I am. Like, not saying that I get validation from them. I get validation from God. I'm just saying that it's better to have other people say things about you, because then that's like you showing what kind of fruit you're bearing.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Beyonder. I think, when people start coming out and saying, oh, well, I'm a really nice person and I'm a really this person, I'm a really that person. Really? Well, if you're that nice, why are you even saying it? Like, leave it to the person to say themselves. I totally agree with that as well.
It's not a bad thing to like say nice things about yourself or say that I do that, but like to say that you're like this, Gandhi of a person, I don't know about that.
But when someone says it in a certain type of way, you are going to know that, okay, no, you're just bragging, right? Do you know what I mean? When someone's saying it sincerely, like if you're in a conversation and they're talking and you're getting to know someone, and they're soft and gentle and they're telling you, but I am a nice person, like I'm a kind person, or I have these qualities, then you understand it's not a brag. It's when you're out there bragging about it, that's when you see that's a red flag for me straight away.
Well, I had a topic a while back, and I said that if you are what you say you are, then you don't speak for yourself. You will have a pair of witnesses that will be able to speak for that as well. So if you're someone who is known for being a respectful person, then what will happen is that you will have a core group, friends, family, that will say, you know what? Nah, that's a good person, right? That's a you know what I'm saying? Like there should be witnesses to the claim of what character you are. Your character is who you are in many different circles. You're not just like, I never trust someone who's nice at work and mean in their relationship. To me, you're mean in your relationship. That's what you really are.
Yeah.
I would say that I don't necessarily trust family to like if I'm hearing that so-and-so's a good person, but I'm hearing from their mom or dad, I'll take that with a grain of salt, only because family could definitely like enable a person's bad behaviors without, like, what I'm trying to say. Like, so like I don't know if you remember this case, Fifth, I think it was in New York. It was like back in the 90s about Lacey Peterson. You ever hear about that?
Nah, you could break it down. I never heard
Yeah,
of
so
that.
basically, well, this is long story short. She's gone. She's unalive now. So she met her husband back in the 90s, and everyone had nothing but good thing to say about him, right?
But they didn't really know him like that though. They're just saying that he's very nice and very charming, blah blah blah. And his family would never hold him accountable for his bad behaviors. Well, anyways, even throughout the trial of him, unaliving her, and she was pregnant too, so he got charged with double homicide. The family still supports him and thinks that he's innocent, even though he's clearly not innocent. You know what I'm trying to say? So I feel like sometimes family will go to bat for you even when you're a bad person, and so but they'll say you're a good person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there are a lot of biases. Like obviously, if it's your child, you're gonna think the sun shines out of the backside, right? You're not. Sometimes you don't want to admit your own child's faults, so you will be biased when your parents can say something. Not everybody. Again, like I said, I don't like generalizing because it's not everybody that does that, but parents can do that. There are parents that will do that, even when they know their child is wrong and has faults, because they don't want to see it. Look, I'll give you an example, guys, right? Very real example. I work in a school, okay? So I see all these kids that are really naughty, like really naughty, yeah? Done really bad stuff. And you know what? We get hurled abuse at by their parents. Oh, but you don't do this and you don't know this and you don't care and rah, rah, rah. And I'm sitting there thinking, bro, do you actually know what your child has done? Like, do you actually see what we are seeing in a school environment? So parents can have this bias towards their children and not see their faults. Because you know why as well, and I don't know, God, I don't know if I'm taking it too far with what I say now, Fifth, but sometimes I think it's because parents don't want to see their own mistakes, their
They don't
own
want to take
flaws.
accountability for them being bad parents. But
Correct.
I feel like if your child is 20 plus, at that point it's them. It's not even you no more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. I wouldn't necessarily blame them. Like assuming that a lot of kids do grow up in nice houses or whatever. Like even the people that I know who are on the news, after a school shooting, a lot of times they come up with they grew up okay. They didn't grow up in a bad house. They decided at whatever age they were, they're gonna do heinous and bad things. That's not the parents for us. That's them.
Yeah, you can't always blame the parents. It's true, because it's also the social circuit and peer pressure, and,
Yeah, I agree. It's not always the parents. Now, a lot of times it is the parents.
Yeah.
How parents can definitely shape how their child turns out. But after they're out of the house and they're grown up and they have the ability to pay their own rent, at that point it's all them. Whatever they do or don't do, you have to trust that they heed your advice and your warnings that you gave them when they were young. Hopefully they become better. They become contributing members of society. If not, then that's on them.
But you know what, Beyonda, I also think, right, that with children, like children that come from, say, broken families, like disturbed families, things like that, abuse, adultery, all of the things that we see. You know what happens? There's two ways. There's two roads for that child to go down, right? One is going to be a child that's going to look at that and think, yeah, that's okay. My parents did it. It's fine. And they will go down that road. And then you will get other children that will look at that and think, you know what? God, they suffered so much. I've suffered so much. I do never want to be like them. And they turn their life around to be different to what their upbringing was because they saw the pain. So it's the choice of ultimately will come down to that grown child, should we say, right? At whatever age, let's not put it to an age, but there will be a point in a child's life that has come from something that is harmful or not great, that they make the decision. Are they going to continue on the legacy, or are they going to look at that and think, you know what, I don't want to be like you. I want to change. I want to be different. And that's when I think it comes down to them as a individual, like I said, right?
I think it's the intensity of the trauma. For me, for example, I was verbally abused. So I'll probably say 12 to 18. I left my parents' house and I'm still traumatized and I still have triggers. And I told Fifth that, like, Fifth, I don't know if people talk to me a certain way. Like, for example, if you could tell me, Golden, you're doing too much, I would feel apprehended to just ever get close to you because I feel like you're attacking me. Like, I can't, like you're attacking me. I feel like even like somebody raising their voice at me, I feel like they're attacking me. I just break down and cry because I have like I reminisce like I reminisce or I set myself in that same bedroom just being belittled and being called different things every day. So it's really seeped into my brain that if somebody talks to me a certain way, I feel they attacking me or they,
Yeah.
So it depends on the sensitivity because there are kids who been abused. I don't know if I can say that, but AB'd for years, and then they can't socialize or they can't ever get close because that AB was so potent in them that they don't want to interact with people. They don't want to be around people, and I imagine being verbally abused for almost your whole life. I have to go to therapy, and some days it's not good days for me because it's just not like I've been like I went through that and I can't let it go because I'm still trying to figure out who is me and was that normal, was that healthy, and there's days I do break down or cry because it hurt me so bad. Like somebody could say, "Golden, you doing this," and I'll break down and cry. Don't talk to me all day because what you said to me hurts me so bad. Like it could be one little thing. So I do think it's the sensitivity of the AB and of the trauma because some people just don't ever get over it. And I'm still trying to get over it. And I'm still trying to learn, like, is this normal? Is this okay? Yeah. I don't think we could put an age to trauma, but we can definitely put the intensity of trauma. Because there's some people who probably, for example, people will call getting punishment, for example, getting butt whooped as trauma. Now, if somebody's disciplining you for your action, that's different from trauma. But if your parents forcibly trying to hurt you and intentionally trying to hurt you, then that's trauma. But we can't put an age to trauma because there's some people that was starved by their parents who are now trying to understand, like, I've been through that. So I wouldn't put an age to it. I'll put the sensitivity to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I said as well that we can't really put an age because we just don't know. But like I'll tell you something, guys. Like I'm really into. Oh my God, should I reveal? Like don't think weird of me, right? I'm not weird, but I'm really into crime dramas and stuff. I watch a lot of crime stories and I watch a lot of this stuff. It comes in the UK a lot. And you see, like I watch a lot of documentaries about this kind of thing. It's always fascinated me because I'm fascinated by behaviors and like why people do what they do. And there's so many. Oh God, weirdo.
Jesus.
It happens a lot, right, Fifth? I mean, don't worry about it.
The trolls, man.
I don't know why they don't just move on. Have they got nothing better to do in life? My God, we're having a nice conversation. What is the issue? Anyway, don't worry about it.
TikTok is a weird
TikTok
place.
TikTok is the place to get up all the trolls. Not gonna lie. You know that, Fifth. You've been on mine. You know what it's like. But my point being, so I've watched a lot of it because I'm interested in why people behave the way that they behave. Like, why did they do this? And probably 9 times out of 10, most of the crimes, the psychopaths that you see, the behaviors, the this and that, it all stems back from their past. It all stems back from childhood. So that's what I'm saying to you, that when you go through stuff in your life as a child and in your family situations, it's going to mold you. It's going to shape you. It's going to massively impact and influence who you are and how you behave going forwards. And like I said, there are people that are going to look at their thing and say, this is all cool. This is good. This is good. And they're going to carry on doing. And you, Golden, my love, obviously you went through what you're going through and you're doing the right thing by getting the level of support that you need to help you get over the line, So it's 2 different roads that people take. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what? So I can definitely speak to that as well because I love watching the psychological aspect of a lot of criminals. I would say this: some of them criminals the most common they suffer from was mental health disorders, such as schizophrenia, such as psychosis, such as depression, such as different things. And I think that what they all had in common was right, was the background, but it was the intensity of the trauma that was for. Some of them were, I don't want to say, I'm gonna spell it out, abuse very badly throughout from a kid, from like a baby to an adult. So their brain was altered in a situation, or some of them, or they experienced a mother going through going to DV, so, or some of them was in poverty where they conform to the idea of being this. So I totally hear where you're coming from, because watching these different, watching how the brain work through people and stuff like that, their brain was altered. Many scientists had this studies on their brain where in your brain, your brain has this chemical, and it basically shows like your brain activity through the brain waves and stuff like that. And the scientists have found that some of these people that that did harmful things, brain activity was very disturbed. It was very abnormal and very unsettling. And then we also got to speak on the behavior aspect, because some of them lack empathy, some of them lack compassion, and some of them lack these different, characteristics, But girl, we're gonna have to watch some TV one day, because we're gonna definitely have a lot of debates.
Yeah, 100. But big up to you, my love. Big up to you for getting the
Thank
help
you.
that you need. Honestly.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It taken me a lot to go through what I went through. Like, honestly, I didn't because I'm very. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, love.
No, I was just gonna say I can hear. Please carry on. Go on, my love. Go on.
Yeah, because after being verbally abused, as my therapist, is one random thing. I was like, why don't I want to drink? Because my mom is an alcoholic, and I don't understand this. Normally, people who go through what I go through want to drink, but I don't want to drink, and it's crazy because I don't crave a drink. But I guess since seeing my mom become a drunk and seeing that, I'm scared of taking a bottle. Like, I don't like being around people who can't hold their liquor. I don't like being around people who are drinkers. Even though I say I need a drink, I would never touch a drink, because it's bad. It's like, I can't. Like, I don't want to end up like that or be like that,
So golden, my lovely. You have just proved what I said, right? That there are situations when you see your parents do something and you're like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be like you. I don't want to suffer the way you're suffering. Like I said, there's two roads. One will go and do the same as what they do. You, obviously, my love, have chosen, nah, that's not for me. I'm not doing what you do. So you literally, and that's what I'm saying, that's what happens when you go through situations as you grow in life through your family. Because let's be real, what is that influence in life when we're born? It's our parents, it's our siblings, it's our family, right? So when you go through something that is a negative experience in your family upbringing, you're going to take one of two roads. And good luck to you, Golden, and God bless as well, because you've taken the right way. You're looking for help. You're saying, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do what I've seen you guys do. So, just keep going down where you're going. I think you're amazing. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I totally I totally get it, because you're right on that aspect. I totally get it. You're right. But I do have days where I do lack healthy relationships. And it's a lot, like, even though I don't want to drink, I lack healthy relationships. I cling to people very badly. I self-attach very badly. I can't take criticism. It's a lot of things I gotta fix within myself. And it's so hard, because it's like, I beat myself all the time. Like, even though I didn't put myself in that predicament, it affects me through meeting people. It affects me how I look at myself. It affects how I talk to men. It affects different aspects. So it be days where I do slip up, where I have days where I just get depressed. Like I just get really, really sad because like, and I just really, really, really hate myself some days. And there's days I'm like, you know what, I got it. Like I'm overcoming this trauma, but I really can't. So I'm trying to figure out how to better myself through everything. But thank you, I really appreciate it.
Baby girl, we are human, okay? And what you've gone through, what you're still going through, and the fact that you're still here, you're talking, you acknowledge what is right, what is wrong, where you need help, where you need support. That's all positivity, okay? Just stay in the positivity and trust me, you will come out of the end of that tunnel, because you have to have this kind of vibe to be able to get there. Nobody is going to have brilliant days. I mean, I don't have a look. I'm not going to be. I'm going to be honest. I don't have the best life in the world. I have my struggles and my strives and everything else. There'll be days where I will be like feeling a bit shitty, but the positivity keeps me going. So we're all human. We're all going to have bad days. We're all going to have negativity sometimes. That's life. That's just reality. But just stay what you're doing, because you're doing good, okay? Just saying. From one girl to another, you're doing good. Keep going.
I really appreciate that. I love that a lot, and I am getting a little bit better, like a little, like 1% better, which is enough
That's
for
all
me.
it takes. Baby steps. Baby steps,
Yeah,
baby girl. Baby steps,
definitely.
baby girl.
I told Fifth, I was like, I don't want to have kids. I don't want to have kids. And some women think that like some women don't. Some women like, really. I told myself I don't want to have kids. I really don't. And it's not people. It's just I truly feel like I don't want to be like my mom in a sense. But I personally feel like I don't want to be unhappy or not fully prepared, or put my kids what I went through, because I think people always say there's no book to being a parent, but there's always it's logic behind becoming a parent, and it's always decisions. So if you're not thinking logically about your decisions, that's where you mess up as a parent, because you were not fully equipped to understand how to become a parent through understand like talking to other people, or watching videos and watching books. Like I'm the person where before I even become anything, I have to watch different videos and see different structures and just learn it and be around people who are parents, because I don't want to jump into something because like, I got it and I don't know how to handle. For example, what if my son get a girl pregnant? How would I handle? How would I respond to that? What if my daughter is GAY? How do I respond to that? What if my son is GAY? How do I respond to that? So it's like a lot of decisions I gotta make. I'm like, even though it's not my decision, it's like, how would I react as a parent? Or how can I, or what if they ask me, the big question is how a baby's made? What do I say to that? Like, I just don't, there's just too
Tell him,
much.
Golden, just say, go and meet Auntie Soul. She'll tell you.
I got you,
I'll
girl.
help you out.
Dad, I need some help. I need some prayers.
No, listen, my love. You know what? And what I would say to you on that, right, is like, look, at the end of the day, and fifth, I think going back to the question and everything we've spoke about tonight, the first thing is we've got to try and heal somewhat. Yeah. Before we go out there with a person, Fifth talked about, I need to be I need to be a certain way to attract a certain thing. What does that entail? That entails healing. That entails working on yourself, right? You need to work on yourself. Same with you, Golden. When you talk about like, I'm worried about, if I don't want to have kids, I don't want to be like this. What do I do with this? What do I do? The first thing you need to do is heal, is to better yourself, get your positive mindset, so you're not thinking negative. And I think we all need to put effort into ourselves in order to achieve what it is that we want out of life, right? What it is that we want out of life. You got to be able to first feel a calmness within yourself. When you feel, and I'm not saying you need to be cured, because I don't think anybody ever cures themselves, isn't it? There's no cure. We're all going to have ups and downs. I don't think we ever get to a final best version, but at least be the best version of yourself that you can, right? So if we all work on ourselves, internally take a look, heal wounds, Yeah, so that we, and whatever means that takes, whether it's professional help, whether it's sitting with family, whether it's, shutting down the noise, shutting out the people, whatever it takes to bring you to a calm state of mind where you then start thinking, okay, you know what, actually I'm good enough and I can do this, and this is what I now want. This is what I'm going to project a certain way, because this is the kind of person that I want to attract. With children, I will meet the right person. Golden, this is for you, my love. I will meet the right person I want to have children with when I know that I am ready for that. So it's all about timing. It's all about balance. And I kid you not, guys, it's all about self-work. It really is.
Yeah, it is, but part of that is being honest with yourself and actually having to accept reality for what it is. Because a lot of times people will use their trauma, as an excuse to kind of like talk to you a certain way or treat you a certain way, which that's not the way that life works. You can't just treat someone bad because of what you went through, And also, I'll
That's an
say this.
immature. That's an immature person too.
Exactly, but also I'll say this, right? If I sell white, and let's say my uncles sell white, my dad, my mom, I've been around them my whole life, and then I do it, and the cop catches me one day, and I'm in the room getting investigated, and he says, "Why'd you do it?" I said, "Oh, well, because I was a product of my environment. It was all around me. Everyone I saw did it, so I did it. You know what they're gonna say to me? And put me in jail."
Yeah.
Because
Go
at the end
behind
of the day,
bars.
it's wrong.
See you later.
At the end of the day, it's wrong. So I understand trauma. I have trauma that I went through as a kid as well. I'm not going to speak to it or what happened, but I don't necessarily like let that be a way to define who I am. I'm not defined by what happened to me or what I did. And I feel like if people had that perspective and like was more honest with themselves and not like using it as a crutch to like limit themselves and like have other people also cater to their emotions, the world would be a lot better, because then people will be moving forward and not be hung up on what happened to them in the past.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. It's all about working on yourself, and thinking, I don't want to be that. So I had a bad past. And what? I can be better though, right? I can be better. Why do we have to live in the past that haunts you, that has disturbed you? I mean, look, I'm so sorry because I talk the way I talk because of how I am as a person, and I have a very positive mindset. But I do understand when I come across people that don't have that, and all I like to do at that point is trying to uplift them to think that actually you don't have to be that way. You don't have to feel that way. It takes a little sprinkle dust of magic of positivity, a little acknowledgement that, you know what, that was wrong to me, but I don't want to be that. So it's all about self-awareness and work on yourself, to be honest. But self-awareness,
Well,
massively.
so I'm gonna speak very candidly. Took me a while because I was getting ready to leave the house. I asked y'all
Okay.
a question earlier. About has marriage affected? Sorry, if you seeing divorce in your parents, your family affected your views on marriage for yourself when you get older.
Yeah.
It definitely affected me.
Okay.
For a large part of my life, I did not want to get married, and I did not want to have any kids because of what I saw, what family members went through. Some would say, from the outside looking in and looking at my current results, that that's still affecting me. Regardless of me telling them, nah, I got over that. But my results are my results. I'm not married. I don't have any children. So there's some things that I had to get over and probably still fighting to this day.
Yeah.
If I'm being upfront.
Yeah. But that's
So
okay.
I'm a witness to the outcome of when seeing your parents divorce have a effect on how you view marriage for your own
Mhm.
future.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Fifth, because you know what? You're an absolutely lovely guy. You're a gem of a person, and I feel sorry that you feel that way, but I understand it. I do understand it. I think Golden said it beautifully herself as well, you know, that she's majorly affected by it. And it's inevitable. This is what I'm saying. Sometimes it's inevitable if going back to the criteria, how long were you married, how young were you, like how did you know what I mean, was there communication between the parents to make you feel okay, to get you through that themselves, which is what I touched upon, which was one of the first things that I said, Fifth, on when I came on, that parents should put the children before their own issues and problems to make sure that they're okay and that they don't get impacted by it as much as possible, right? As much as possible. It's going to happen. It's an inevitable thing. But as grown parents, you can control the level of damage that is done to the child. I believe, okay? I truly believe that. But I hear you and I get it. And I don't know, maybe your results do relate to that, or maybe they don't, Fifth. Maybe you just haven't, I don't know, maybe you just haven't met the right person. Like maybe you don't always put it down to that. Maybe it's just, maybe you may not have met the right person. Or if you feel that I've met so many good people and I withdrew because of fear of what I was going to jump into, and in the back of your mind. And then you know what you need to do, Fifth? You need to be true and honest to yourself.
Yep.
Am I self-sabotaging because I'm fearful of this? Do you understand?
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
So
I'm definitely big on self-evaluation and accountability, and
yeah,
I have admitted that my fear of divorce is really a fear of marriage, more so.
right.
And that is something that I've dealt with, for many years,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I've, you know, had to seek healing for that to get
Yep.
rid of
Good.
that fear for so
Good.
many years. I would say at least within the last 10 years or so,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, once I got in my 20s, I was like, nah, I don't want to do this.
You don't
I
want to
don't
be
know.
there.
I don't know. And then when I got in my 30s, I said, okay, let's work towards this, because I don't I no longer have that fear. I no longer have it. But you can say out of your mouth
Yeah.
what you don't fear
Yeah. But
until you get into a relationship for
until,
real.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Till it
yeah,
hits you. Yeah. Yeah. And then, but
exactly.
then that's the reality then, Fifth. When you get into a situation and you start feeling that anxiety around it, you know that it's not done. You're still struggling with that. You know what I'm saying? If you get
Yeah.
into a situation and you're feeling something a certain kind of way, then you know that that issue is still lingering.
I will tell you this. With that being said, when I was going through my stuff,
Mm.
I left women alone because I don't think you should be entertaining people when you have those problems.
Yeah, agreed.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I
agreed.
did
Totally
I,
agreed.
I did I did leave women alone at those times. When I got further in, letting go of that fear,
Mm.
um, then I started to date again. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
and I dated with intention to marry. You know,
right. Yeah.
and I had a lot of stumbles. I fell and stumbled several times because prior to that I had years of not wanting to get married,
Yeah.
and then now I'm trying to date with intention, and then it's
You
like
don't.
it's like, okay, well, here are the challenges that you probably didn't anticipate, right?
Yeah. It's
So
completely
so then
different.
right, so then I had to
Yeah.
go through. So then I had to go through. Well, how do you react to these challenges? Because one thing relationships do,
Hmm.
they more so reveal who you are more than reveal who the person is that you're dating.
Very true. Very true.
And I'm gonna
100%
tell you,
agree.
right? And I'm gonna tell you, I ran into
Mm.
somebody. You know, I ran into somebody who had their own level of suffering, had their
Yeah.
own level of fears,
Yeah.
and we clashed because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's gonna happen though,
How,
Pip.
how about that?
But that's gonna happen because you're not.
Yeah,
She was going through the same, like her issues. You were going through yours. You're gonna clash.
right, right,
You know what? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Look.
right. And
Look.
so, yeah, go ahead. So, go ahead.
No. I was.
Well,
No. No. You
let me
carry
say this.
on.
I'm not
You.
anti. I just want to. Yeah, I just want to make that clear. I'm not anti-marriage. I'm not anti-family. I just want to make that clear for the audience. That's all. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No. No. You go ahead because you was in the middle and I interrupted. I'm sorry. You carry on because you were in the story. Please carry on.
Yeah, yeah. Even though my results are my results, I'm not anti-marriage. I'm not anti-family. Um,
Yeah. So can I ask
you
you a
know,
question? Can I ask you a question then, Pip?
it's so, yeah, yeah,
So you're okay. You feel mentally in yourself. Okay, these are important questions. Do you feel mentally in yourself good and ready to have a relationship? Number one.
yes,
Okay. Number
yes,
two. If you went into a relationship with someone and she was giving you all the green flags, would you be ready to marry?
yes,
Okay. So with your two yeses, that tells me that you're in a very, very good place. You just need to find the right woman, babe. That's it. You need to find the right woman
yeah,
that is calm, collected. It's not going to give you the drama that you're seeing, with the women that
mm-hmm,
maybe you have met and stuff. Those
right,
red flags, move on next, because fifth, there will be somebody out there for you that is calm, that is collected. And if you have said to me today, look, so I am ready, I wouldn't marry someone, I am ready for a relationship, you're on a winning streak anyway. But the problem you've got is the problem we've all got, and it's not just yours, we've all got it. Where do you find that person? Where do you find that diamond in the rough? Yeah, we're all in the same boat,
yeah,
fifth. Do you understand? It's
yeah. And
amazing.
so
It's
I
mm.
and
Go on, babe, go on.
so I ain't mean to cut you, but I just want to say real quick. So I understand my results. My results are not out of thin air. My results are a result of I still needed to um, change more and get rid of the red flags that I would be for a woman who wants to get married.
Correct,
You get what I'm
correct,
saying?
correct,
Because
correct.
because you can't have all these things about what you don't want to do and what you won't accept, and then think you're supposed to get the best woman on the planet uh, the day after you make that declaration. No, you have to go through a process.
Yes,
That
yes.
that thing has that person though that you was, it has to break down. It has to, like, you have to be rebuilt basically. You understand?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You have to be rebuilt, because the one thing God is not gonna do, if you ain't ready, He not gonna give you His most precious jewel, because you ain't
Yeah.
ready. He
Yeah.
gonna give that to somebody else who is.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so, in my earlier time, I understood why. I I get it. I'm not even mad at that. I'm not even mad at that at all. But
Yeah.
I'm just being candidly honest that I am someone who definitely who definitely had a fear of marriage after
Yeah.
seeing some unsuccessful results. Have I seen successful results as well? Yes, yes. So it ain't all bad. I don't want to paint a picture of horror either. You understand?
Yes, I do. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to be fair with that.
No one, but the thing is, like Fifth, from how you speak and what you're talking and what you're saying, look, I just think you just need to find the right person. I think you're more than ready, honestly speaking. I think you're more than ready to have a relationship. I think you're more than ready to commit to someone. I think you've dealt with a bit of your demons. Demons can surface though. Don't get me wrong. Pain is pain, and it sits dormant until something happens, and it can rise. We can have fluctuations, but that makes us human. There's nothing wrong in that. As long as you can control it in the sense of when you are in a situation with someone that's a good person that you see that is a good person and you've met them and you think, okay, there is potential here, and sometimes I think what we do, and I think Beyonda said it beautifully earlier actually when he said, we use this card that of what we've gone through. We tend to, and as human beings, naturally we will say, we can easily say, oh, but I've been through so much and I've seen this and I've seen that, and so I'm a bit scared. No, 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 no. Stop being scared, because what happened there doesn't mean it's gonna happen to you. As long as you are open, you have self-awareness, you've healed and tried to work on yourself to be a better version of yourself, go out and attract, bro. Go out and see, go out and find your woman, and don't look back. Don't worry about the risks. Sometimes, look, I'll tell you something very honestly, Fifth, right? Sometimes we just need to take the leap of faith. Yeah? We need,
Hmm.
where we see red flags, not sorry, red flags, God, where we see green flags, where we see a number of green flags, we need to take a leap of faith, okay? And then just shut off the noise in our minds and think, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to. If you look, what's the saying? If you're not in it, you're not going to win it. You've got to take a leap of faith and jump. Yeah. I'm not saying that it's going to work out beautifully for you. Alhamdulillah, it will. I'm just saying we have no guarantees. But what other option have you got? Are you going to sit like and not try? Are you going to sit and live your next few years thinking, hold on, let me see what boxes and everything that they tick and this? Well, no, don't. We haven't got enough time. We haven't got enough time in this life to do that. We haven't got enough time in this life to do that. We need to go out. As long as you know you're okay, you know that I'm okay, I'm comfortable, I know I want to meet someone, I know I want to get married. Don't hold back because of your past. Go. Because what did I say to you, Fifth? And what do I say every time I come on your live? What one person has done is them. It doesn't mean everybody else is the same. You will find your diamond in the rough. You just need to look, and you need to be open to it, and you need to take a risk.
Yeah.
Yeah? Make sense?
Yeah. It definitely ties to the topic. I'm not gonna say I suffered more, but I will say that I am on the child part of it, because
I got you.
my parents split when I was 5.
Oh,
So
wow.
I've had
Very
a
young.
I've had a own level of suffering, but I'm not gonna say I suffered more. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, my love. And
Yeah, but
I'm sorry to hear that you went through that. But you know what, Fifth? I'll tell you one thing, and please take it from me as a friend, yeah?
yeah.
Whatever you went through when you were in your young 5-year-old, and probably it followed you probably years after, right? Listen
Mhm.
to me. Listen to me. You're amazing. You're sitting here. You're doing lives. You're confident. You've got your shit together, Fifth. You're an amazing person, okay? So no matter what has happened in your past, you know what? You've outgrown it. I'm telling you, as a friend, you've outgrown it because you are sitting here and you're able to talk about these things. You bring these conversations, you bring these topics. What does that tell you? That tells you you're a man that has actually understood that yes, there are complications, yes, there are issues, yes, there are problems and things that we can debate about. But you know what? If you hadn't have gotten out of all of the things you've gone through, you wouldn't be the Fifth I know today. I'm just saying. Honestly, trust me. You're doing amazing.
Thank you. And whether people know it or not, I've picked many topics, many topics, and I do a new topic every show, and I have picked many topics that do hit close to home, and I still do them up here for everyone else.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Look how far you've come. You know, with trauma in our childhood that we go through, look how far you've come. You're sitting here talking about it. Do you know that's the biggest medicine in the world? That's the biggest healing you can have. That's the biggest progression that you have got. So big up to you, Fifth. Just saying. Soul Survivor, big up to Fifth, man. Seriously, I think you're amazing. And what I've learned of you today, which I didn't know, I didn't know that about you, but that shocked me because how are you so amazing? Like, how are you sitting here lives, doing this, talking? You're doing your marathon on Sunday. Like, come on, bro. You got this. Honestly, you got this. So my only thing I would say to you as a friend with advice is switch on the positivity and keep it locked. Keep the positivity locked. You won't go wrong. Doesn't matter. And believe in God. Believe in God. That's the other thing I'll say. Keep your God near to you and switch off your positivity in your mindset, which I think you already have anyway. But keep that going. Keep that going. And I kid you not. I want the invitation to the wedding, okay? I need to go buy a hat. I need to go buy a hat, okay? And I will come there for your wedding. Trust me, Viv.
Yeah.
I will fly to America to be there for your wedding. Because you're a very
I
dear
got a
friend, and
response.
trust me, I will come.
Beyond what
Go on,
happened?
Beyond. Go
You
on,
said,
Beyonda.
I was gonna say you brought up you. Okay, I wanted to speak more towards like the kids suffering part because depending on like what age they are, because if you're like like what you said you were 5 and your parents split up. When you're
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8, you don't understand how the world works. So
Yeah.
the amount of suffering you go through is like very like I'm not saying that it's not suffering. It probably is to the kids' imagination, but but because the parent is the one who knows who has more understanding of the situation and is having to see their kid like have their cogs like the wheels in their mind like spinning and whatever. That's kind of hard for the parent though, for real. Like, yes, like I said, it depends on what kind of divorce it is, right? But if it's not like this extreme example where it's like cheating or DV or whatever else it is, it has to be really hard for the parent because like the parent has to not only deal with their own suffering but also like it can't even fully like like fully address how they feel because they have to put theirs aside to deal with the child. The child's gonna be taken care of because that's a child is the number one priority, assuming that the parent is a good parent. So you know what? I changed my answer
You change your answer the
To
other day.
I'm gonna say the parent suffers more,
Then the
assuming
child.
that they're assuming that the parent. Okay, you know what? Okay, assuming the parent is a good parent and cares about their child, the parent will suffer more because they don't want their child to suffer, so they're not gonna deal with their own emotions. They'll put the emotions to the side and deal with the child's first, and then they'll deal with theirs like a week or two later. You know, does that make a little bit of sense? Like like you said, Fifth. There's no like right or wrong answer. It just depends.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to
Yeah.
provide a different perspective on it because that is a reality where like parents are good parents and they have situations where they don't end up together no more, and they have to watch their kid kind of like have the wheels turn on their head, and the kids are crying, whatever, blah blah blah. The kids are going to be showered with love by the dad or the mom, separately, because they're not together no more.
Yeah.
But the kid is going to be able to get through it faster than the parents are.
That's a
Well,
that's go on, Chris.
beyond the that's why I said in my case personally, I'm not gonna say I suffered more. I'm just saying that I had a level of suffering, but most of that was on the post divorce.
Yeah.
Because on the post side, I was just raised by my mother. I know my dad. I have a relationship with my dad, yes. Later on in life, but I was raised by my mother. So there's that. So I think the dynamic after it plays a role. But I'm more so pertaining to the marriage part. How it's the marriage part that I looked at different. You know what I'm saying? Because of what I saw. And I'm not just talking about my mother and my father. I said family.
Yeah.
So other
It's happening everywhere.
yeah. I mean,
You know what's crazy, Fifth?
yeah.
I'll take a step further back to your panel on Monday.
Yes.
Divorcing the family or each other. That's hard because if, let's say, for example, you're married to a girl, right? And her family loves you. You're over there kicking it, even when she's not there, hanging out with the dad, hanging out with the grandpa, whatever, right? That's tough for you because now you gotta not talk to them no more. Now the child is able to still hang out with whoever they want, but you, because you're the adult, and because the dynamic isn't the same anymore, you don't really have the access anymore because you're divorced. But the child gets to play both sides because they get to hang out with your family and her family.
But you know what? That access can also be denied because for example, for some situations, if the woman feel like the guy is being disrespectful or his family is being disrespectful for her kid, as they got divorced and they feel like, oh, it's too messy for her kids, she can say, you know what? I don't want you seeing my kid no more. I don't want your family seeing my kid no more. I don't want you around my kid no more, and that's it. But because not all the times after the divorce, people are kumbayaing. That's some. That's some. But there are more messy divorce because there's some people who rush marriage or who basically accept that they're gonna be together, but they still have emotional tied to the marriage and stuff like that. But listen, beyond it, you're not gonna ever see two parents walk out of the divorce court smiling, holding hands, talking about no, because at the end of the day is when it comes to those legal papers and it comes to their kid, it's gonna always be a battle. And when you're married, you don't have you shared everything. You share your bank accounts, but that's only if you want to do that. You have to share the finance, then you have to also share the kid. So when a kid's getting involved with two parents and now they have to battle for custody, who's going to the kid, who not, you have to worry about, girls talk about, well, I can do this certain days and you only can do one day. So it gets messy during that time. Unless that person have a real unless they had communication before and stuff like that.
I'm speaking more towards the co-parenting life where the kid goes to both parents' house. So when the kid is going to the dad's house, the kid's hanging out with the dad's family and gets to hang out with his brothers and sisters or whatever. And then when the kid's over at the mom's house, the kid gets to hang out with her family. So the kids, they will families he's not important. The parents can't anymore.
Brianda, you're breaking up, my lovely.
Yeah, you breaking up, love. Okay, Beyond, I hear what you're saying, love. I really hear what you're saying. But I'm speaking, okay, I hear what you're saying, but I'm also speaking, okay, I think the problem coming in with communication is you're speaking on the positive side of the all. You're basically saying, okay, where they have good communication. I'm speaking on when, mind you, where the mother, let's say the mother don't like the family or the mother don't like the dad after the divorce, because after the divorce, that's when things get messy. That's when the parents start talking bad about the other spouse, and that's when the other parents start talking about each other and stuff like that. Like, oh, you could have did better, and then that's when it can mess up the kid relationship with the other parent, and that's when the kid may overhear what mom has said about the dad and go to the dad saying, "Oh, mom said this, said that," and now there's a whole toxic battle because that just happened. Now, I get what you're saying, and that's cool and all, but there are women and men who keep the kid from the other parent because of their emotions, because of after
They use them
divorce.
as collateral. They use them as collateral against each other.
I get
Yes.
that, but that's not what I'm talking about, though. That's not what I was talking about. You're talking about a completely different thing.
Beyonda, let me
Yeah,
speak to it as some. Beyonda,
go
let me
ahead.
speak to it to someone who actually lived in this. Okay,
Go ahead. Yeah.
so I still kept in touch with my father's side of the family after my mother and my father split. So I spent a lot of time with my grandmother and my uncle, and on my father's side. So I was very close to them, very close to them. You know what I'm saying? So cousins on that side, there was still family things, right? I mean, I would go over the house after pretty much every Sunday after church. You know what I'm saying? So was in their lives a lot, right? So very grateful for my grandmother and my uncle. You know, my uncle is like a father figure, still to this day. Um, me and my father have a very good adult relationship. Very good. We got past things once I got a certain age, and we have a really good adult relationship. He's a better father now today than he was when I was younger. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is, and and
Take
and
it,
and,
take it, yeah.
and, and he'll even accept that, right? Pride aside, you know, he'll say, you know what, my sons turned out great, even though I should have been there more. You know what I'm saying? So I could witness to that. As far as what Golden's saying about the sides talking about each other, you know what? Yes, that's gonna happen, but at the end of the day, the maturity is this. The kids don't have nothing to do with that. So we don't get mad at the kid because the kid is here, because that they didn't cause that. You know what I'm saying? So what's gonna happen is that somebody out of the arrangement is gonna have to grow up and be adults and know that blood is still blood. You know what I mean? And I was a respectful kid. It's not like I was a disrespectful kid going to my father's side of the family. That's different. You know what I'm saying? So I loved, respected, and honored them, you know, to this day. You know what I'm saying? So it takes a level of maturity. It's going to take some growing pains because when you have a divorce that's fresh, the tension is high. It's going to be like that for a couple years. But at some point, somebody got to grow up.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I was saying too, because my parents were never together. I grew up with my mom. My dad was never in my life, but I still had access to my dad's side of the family. My aunt Lonnie, and whoever else, like my grandma, whatever. So that's the only thing that I'm talking about is the fact that once you get a divorce and you're a parent, the access you once had to the other family you don't have anymore. I was speaking more towards the suffering part because if you're building relationships with other people of the family, it's going to be really hard for you to step away and not be a part of that dynamic anymore. But the kid, though, does not suffer that, because the kid can go to both sides of the family and still experience both sides whenever he or she wants.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I did that as well. I had the love of my mom's side of the family, which is my main family, and I had the love of my grandmother and my aunt and my cousins as well. That's all I was speaking to. I'm not saying that there aren't dynamics where the adults speak about the adult. That's fine, but the kid's not a part of that, though.
But what I was saying, okay, so how I raised Beyonder, right, is I never got to know my dad's side of the family at all. I was not close to them. We don't even talk to this day. So I was raised differently. But my mom did say so to my dad, which was, it didn't change my perception of him, but it did change how I feel about him in a sense. But the reality is there are parents, and there are parents that will use their kids as bait because they're emotionally high against the other spouse, and that's reality, Beyonder. And I'm not taking away from your experience, love. I was the child that my mom would say, "You're dating X, Y, and Z." Ain't nobody on my dad's side came to see me. I have no close relationship to them. So you understand that I'm a living testimony of the kid who didn't go to the other side of her dad's family. I didn't say hi to my grandmother until now. Like, I'm 21. I was 14 or 15 years old when I finally actually talked to my dad. I'm now 21, just now seeing my grandmother, talking to my cousins, but I still don't talk to them, Beyonder. So the parents' emotional distress can also affect the relationship with their side of the family. Even though it didn't affect you in that way, I was affected in that way because I didn't go to my cousin's house on my dad's side. I didn't see my grandmother. Listen, if my mom felt some way about my dad, she kept me from my dad. And I'm like trying to understand, Beyonder, there are people like me who don't talk to the other side of the family. So you just have to be open-minded to that. I'm not taking away what you
Respectfully, I'm talking about the general, because like when I talk about
You can't generalize that. You can't generalize that.
Yes, I can.
You really?
I just
How you
did.
gonna? But Beyonder, you're basically saying like Beyonder, but you cannot generalize it. If I'm a person,
Yes, I can.
but you cannot.
No,
You're basically saying,
guys, hold on a second. You both are talking about you're both on different spectrums, okay?
right, and he's
Beyonder-
being generalizing, so he's generalizing everybody.
Okay,
Well,
one second. Golden, 1 second, my love. And Beyonder, if you don't mind, all I'm gonna say, look, you both have come from different experiences, okay? Beyonder had, luckily, and I'm very glad that you did have a beautiful relationship with your other side of the family, your father's side, right? You said so. You had a beautiful relationship with your father's side, though your father was not present every day. You still had a connection to that. Now, Golden is on the other spectrum, and saying that, listen, I was used as bait, like I couldn't even go. They wouldn't allow me, and da. So she's told her story. So you're both at different spectrums. But you know what I would say to you guys? Listen, this is how it is, because it depends on your parents. If your parents are going to be civil with each other and look out for you as a child, they're going to do Golden, don't get me wrong, my love, but they're going to do the situation that Beyonder has got, right? Where you can still have that relationship. Now, my poor Golden, what she's gone through a situation where her parents weren't civil. They were fighting it, and they're still doing it. So she's still going through that trauma. So you are both at very different spectrums of the divorce situation.
But what I'm saying to him is he cannot generalize, because first and foremost, it's like me saying everybody like oranges.
Yeah,
and
no,
then
you can generalize.
Right, he literally just said that. So he was like, "Yes, I'm generalizing everybody," and I'm telling you cannot do that, because at the end of the day, it's just because you and your parents were cool by y'all. Right, and I'm trying to tell him that is you're meeting a living testimony where you're meeting a person, mind you, where I'm trying to tell you can't generalize, because I was the child. Let me tell you, Beyonder, I was the child who could not go to her cousin's house at her dad's side because my mom felt some way. My dad was not in my life, just like you. My dad was not in my life, but guess what? My mom still kept me away from my dad's side because she felt some way, because my dad didn't want to be in my life at the end of the days. So you have to understand that there are people like Golden who don't have that opportunity like you had, who can just go to their
Yeah.
dad's side and say, "Oh, because your parents your parents did a wonderful job. They communicated. They had that. I guess they had that cordial bond." But you cannot generalize and base your experience and say that's everybody's experience. Because I have 5 friends whose parents did the exact same thing. We're going through the same thing as the kids. So you just can't generalize. And I do feel some way because you're making it seem like you're basically saying that because you went through that, you are better or you have or
First of all, we're
like
not.
you.
No, 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 no,
I
no,
feel somewhere.
no,
I feel somewhere.
no. You're not gonna
No,
do that.
I don't
No,
think
No,
you
I
said
feel
anything like
somewhere.
that, my love.
no. I did not say that
Brianna
once. You're not
didn't
gonna
say
put words in
that.
my mouth. I.
You
So
generalize.
no. Stop.
Go ahead.
When we generalize, we learn about this in kindergarten. When you pick up a bunch of marbles or whatever, a lot of them is going to be purple or green or whatever. It's called probability. So when I'm talking about this stuff, I'm talking about things that I see from court cases, from things that I've read, things that I know. That not even if it's not personal, okay? Yes, I went through a personal thing where I was able to experience both sides, but I'm talking more so for the co-parenting reality. You're talking about your reality, but it's a part of reality, but it's not the overall reality. I'm
But
saying that a lot of
that
times when you're
reality is
talking
not
about
always true.
marriages, the end of
Think
divorce,
about court cases, love. But
when you're talking about parents who divorce and have kids, that kid, for the most part, not talking about the toxic situations or whatever, they have access to both sides of the family. Now, what you're saying is correct, but I can still generalize, and I'm going to, because that's what the generalize is.
see,
No,
so see, he's
no.
generalizing.
Hold on. When we okay, let me define generalizing because I think that's where we're
I'm not talking
getting
about
stuck.
absolute. I'm talking about most people.
Okay,
Sir,
I'm not making
you,
an absolute
then
claim.
you
I'm
are
talking about
sir, do
generalizing.
you
generalization.
know what,
So then you are
Beyonda?
Two
generalizing.
different things. Two different things.
You
No,
are
no,
to be
no.
honest, but you have to
It's two
understand what
different
generalizing
things.
means because
It's two different things.
you're saying
It's two different
no,
things.
sir.
Two different things.
Sir, it
Two
doesn't
different things.
respond. First of all, you have to understand what general.
Let's get decorum here, okay? We're not going to argue. We are having a civil conversation, a civil debate, if you like. Let's not be like that. Let's be calm. So go on, Golden. Say what you got to say, but let's all keep it respectful, okay? Please.
Okay, definitely. I got you. What I'm saying, love, is you like you said you read books, you read quickly. First of all, books can be from a one side perspective, right? Because I can write a book right now and say all men are X, Y, and Z, right? And you could read that book as a woman, right? And say, okay, all men are based off my experience with men. So basically, love, books can be biased when it comes to books. People can add their own twist to books, their own experience to books, all types of stuff, right? Second of all, right, you see about court cases. Okay, just because you read 2 court cases does not mean you was actually there or present during that time or you knew those people personally. I can literally say I know Megan Thee Stallion or because I saw her does not mean I know her personally. Third of all is you are generalizing based off other people's experience and other people other people's experience and other people and intentions and in people's situations because I can say, for example, I can commit a crime, right? And I can commit a crime against my person. Let's say I stole money, right? And I go to jail and that court case say XYZ and she committed a crime. But guess what? She cheated. So everybody's circumstances is different. Okay, that's why you cannot base your knowledge off of other people's experience until you experience it. You can learn from it, but you cannot base it off that because you're being biased and you're basically applying their experience to your overall statement to everybody, where everybody's situation is different. And my last thing before I land, I literally just told you, right? I have 5 friends. What don't you understand? This generation, you don't see nobody being kumbaya and you don't see nobody going to the they people family X, Y, and Z love. You don't see that. That's some people doing that. But majority what I see online and what I see talk to my friends, because they have kids, right? They literally tell me like, Golden, I literally see my auntie, I literally see my auntie not let her, not let the dad see his kid because he was not doing X, Y, and Z. He can't go to the family house X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. I literally hear that all the time. You cannot generalize, put that on everybody, because I know people who couldn't see their kids or who couldn't go to the other family house at all. So what are we talking about?
So, guys, just let me, if you don't mind, I just want to come in here, and I think we're getting hung up on the word generalizing, right? Generalization. We're getting hung up on it. Look, what Beyonda said was his situation, right? And we should respect that. What Golden said was her situation, and we should respect that, because you both have just proved, which I said to you earlier, that everybody reacts differently to whatever you've gone through in your life, right? Whatever's happened in life, you're going to react in a different way. Why? Because we're humans. We're different. We're not the same. God never made us the same. We're all different and we act differently. What we're getting hung up on, and the little tit for tat that's happening here, is on the word generalizing. Leave it, forget generalization, and just hear each other out. We've heard what Beyonda said, and that was not nice to hear what he's gone through. We've heard what Golden has said, and that's not nice to hear what she's gone through. Just leave out the word generalization and just be as we are, talking and saying, okay, I get you. I get
Yeah, I'll just say this. I'm done. I'll say this, right? I don't have to go through an experience to know that, or I don't have to go through an experience to be able to talk about it. I know that unaliving someone is bad. That I don't have to go through that to know that it's bad.
No, you don't, my love. Of course
Human
you
beings
don't,
do that all the time. We all generalize to some degree, right? In negative ways, positive ways, it's just how life is. When I was a kid, all kids that I know, we all learned that all human beings are born with 10 fingers. If one or two people in South America or Russia are born with 9 fingers, does that negate the fact that human beings have 10 fingers? No, there are anomalies out there that have or are born with 9 or 8 fingers or whatever. There are anomalies. There are outliers.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what is common to a good portion of human beings. This based off of the deducing from what I know. Human beings do it all the time. I don't have to experience half of what I talk about. People do it all the time. There are people who never play basketball but still commentate about basketball because they watch it and are around it, but they never played it. But they understand the game. So generalization is a very normal and natural thing for us to do. It can be used for safety. It can be used for whatever case may be, right? There are people that have bad experiences with BOK people, And unfortunately, I'm not saying that what they're doing is right, but what happens is when you go through experiences over and over and over and over and over and over again, you're going to eventually start to experience, you're going to start assuming that most people of that demographic are that. That's the negative side of generalize, where people assume that because you're a BOK man or whatever, you're going to steal their wallet or steal their purse. That's not true. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of people...
But like I said, everybody, like I said, you cannot generalize. And at the end of the day, even though you didn't experience what I, because you don't know what it was like to question, like, you don't know what it's like to wait after 5 years or 10 years to say, who are my grandmother, who are my cousins, and feel like you missed time, and feel like you can't reach out to the other side of your family. You don't know what it's like. And I personally feel like I do feel away because you're basically applying generalizing on your own experience. You're basically saying that there are people out here. Hold on. You're basically saying 2026 because I know like you're lying. If we do the stats, do you know how many people are having kids out of wedlock? You know how many people, especially young people my age, because when you do stats and you generalize, you have to understand that it's an age to it when people have kids, and then it's also the race, and then it's also age and race. If you do right, you want to generalize, right? You cannot apply somebody dynamic who was in their 30s or 50 years old to
But I'm not.
somebody who you cannot apply to somebody who's in their 30s or 50 years old who had kids
I
to
haven't.
somebody who's 20 years old who have kids because
I
their
haven't done that yet.
emotions. Sir, can you calm down? Their emotions going to be different. When you're generalizing, you're basically saying everybody who went through what I went through has experienced this, and that's not true. Because I literally just told you, I have 5 friends, sir. I have 5 friends, and I met people who couldn't see the other side of their family, just like me. So what are you talking about? You're putting your own personal experience and applying to everybody. You cannot do that. So stop
No.
trying to generalize people and just say that there are some people that go through what I go through. But Golden, I understand that you went through what you went through.
So
Okay,
obviously, what I was.
hold on.
Can I say
Let
one
me
thing,
cut
Cliff?
in. Hold on.
I have one more thing.
All right,
Yeah,
go
please
ahead.
say something.
I'm not trying to step on your toes, Beyond. Go ahead, but let's
Yeah, because
let's
I'm gonna say
what do we
one
call
thing,
it?
okay?
Let's expedite this because it's going nowhere.
Just go
No,
round
I
and round in
got you. So
circles.
what I'll say is this, right? If it don't apply, let it fly. Okay, what I said didn't apply to you, so you didn't have to respond to it. So you didn't have to respond to it at all. So then, if it doesn't, if you don't fit what I'm talking about, then there was no reason for you to even speak on it. I'll land.
All right, so
Yeah.
Because everyone has
Okay.
their own
What I
experiences.
said is, what I said is,
hold on, Golden, hold on. I just got to say something real quick because I can see where this is going. Someone got offended. So what happens when someone gets offended? They now have to defend the offense. So this conversation is going nowhere. So I'd like to move it along. Golden, if you had one last thing to say, because I have to be fair. If you had one
okay.
last thing to say, then I'm gonna move it along.
I do. What I want to say, right? The whole premise of the conversation was why I felt so offended because at the end of the day, right? I literally told him that I understand you coming from Beyonder. You and Beyonder had a chance to see the other side of you guys' family, right? X, Y, and Z, which I totally understand. Hold on. So yeah. What I'm saying is like I said, you Beyonder had a chance to see the other side of your family. But I told him, Beyonder, you cannot generalize and say that everybody had the opportunity because I am a living testimony. I didn't get to see my grandmother. I had to wait years. I'm 21. I didn't see my grandmother when I was 14, 8 years at all until I got 21. And he's basically generalizing and saying that majority of people go through what he goes through and can see the other side of family. But I'm telling Beyonder, that's not true because I have 5 friends who can't see they other side of their family because their mother is bad talking to their dad, or because their mother, because the mother don't like the dad or the dad don't like the mother. So they try to basically keep the child away from the other side of the family, like how I was. And that happens all the time. And he had to bring up, he said he watched, he basically say he watched court cases and stuff like that. And I'm like, you cannot apply that to everybody's perception of reality. Because the reality of it is there are people like me who can't see this side of the family. And I did feel offended because you're making it seem like you're basically downplaying people like me and saying, well, because you had this opportunity, everybody had that chance. But what about people like me? Come on now, let's be fair. Let's not lie in reality. Let's not sit here and lie, because I know you're not about to sit here and tell me that there's not kids who are having babies right now. There's not people who having kids out of having kids. There's not people who just lusting having kids and using emotions. I just saw I watch court cases all the time where the mother and the father are fighting for their kid, and the mother will just say, "Well, you're not gonna see my kid." What are we talking about? Let's be fair now. Let's really be fair.
All right, that's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's fine.
All right.
Someone's a
So
fact.
yeah,
That's fine.
That's it. I'm gonna say this, and then we got to get the final thoughts. Uh, Golden, you said you know 5. I know more than 5. So in my neighborhood that I grew up in, um, there were many situations where the mother cut the kids off from the father and the father side of the family. Then there were situations where the father side of the family was basically like, oh well, if you ain't dealing with them, then we ain't dealing with the kid either, which is messed up. So, and then I've seen the co-parenting situation, the healthy co-parenting. I've seen the toxic co-parenting. So I've seen it all. Whether in family or out of family. Friends, peers, whatever growing up, it is what it is, school, it is what it is. I've seen it all. Okay, so this is not an absolute. So that's my take on what y'all were talking about, and we're gonna move on from there. So
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So hey, let me get everyone's final thoughts cuz I'm about to end the stream, okay?
Yeah.
Who wants
100.
who wants to go first? Matter of
Okay,
fact,
I'll
let me
go.
do this. Let me do it. Let me hold on one
Go,
second. So,
go top
hey,
to
go.
bottom.
Let me talk to Golden real quick. Golden, you there?
Yeah.
Hey, Golden, you want to have like your final thoughts and closing statements? Because I'm about to end the stream. Okay.
I want to say all love to you guys. All love to all you guys. No hard feelings. Um, yeah. I wish I the best. Have a blessed day and a good day. Beyond there, you still cool people and everything. I really respect you for you giving us an insight on your life and stuff like that, and your perception and stuff like that. Even you too, Soul and Fifth. I really appreciate all you guys. So yeah, have a good day and a blessed one. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Golden. You have a good weekend. Okay.
Big up, Golden.
All right. Soul, you have any final thoughts? You can go.
Yeah. My only final thoughts will be: look, at the end of the day, I think we all need to understand that everyone comes from a different place, right? Different experiences, different places. Um, and when we get on live and we talk about stuff, I just think we just need to respect each other's views and where they come from. And beyond that, you know what? You're my absolute G. I absolutely love you to death. You're here every Thursday. As much as I try to be here every Thursday, and I always see you, my love, and you're amazing as well. So I hope you haven't taken anything, because I wasn't negative towards you or towards Golden. What I was trying to do was to say, like, guys, we're different. We're different, and that's okay. We come from different places. Where you sat, where she sat was different. You were totally at different spectrums from each other. But all I wanted to do was like, let's keep it calm, let's keep it respectful, and let's move on. Let's have good conversation, good vibes. Fifth, big up to you always. I always say this to you. I think your lives are amazing. Beyonda, he's right hand man. You're amazing, and I've got nothing but love for both of you, honestly. So yeah, thank you for this live. It was amazing, as always.
Thank you, Soul. Beyonda, you have the floor, brother. You can take as much time as you want. Yeah, I can hear you.
Big up you, Beyonda. We can hear you. Go on. We can hear you, my love.
General portion, not all. I have to explain that. You know what I was.
Hey, Beyonda.
That was a
Beyonda,
good
you cut.
panel. Shout out to Soul.
Hey, Beyonder,
Big
you
up,
cutting out.
Beyonder.
Beyonder, you
Can you
there?
hear me now? Yeah,
Yeah, try
is
try
that
to
good
go
now?
back a few words
Yeah,
and
I'm
repeat
here.
itself.
No,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
He's good. He's good now. Say what you were saying, Beyonder. We
Yeah,
can hear you now, my love.
yeah. I was saying that you knew what I was trying to say, Fifth. I was speaking about a
Yeah.
certain portion of what we were talking about, not the entire portion. And she got
Hmm.
offended. I get that. Shout out to her though. No disrespect to her, nothing like that. It's all good. Very particular how I talk. Didn't say anything in the way that I was talking about everybody else. Yeah. So other than that, good handle. Shout out to Fifth. Shout out to Soul Survivor. You know.
Big up.
Yeah,
Fifth, can I just say one thing before you say something? One thing, my
yeah,
love. Is that all
go
right?
ahead, because I gotta make an announcement about the marathon. Go ahead.
No worries. Beyonder, I just want to say one thing to you. You know what, Beyonder? You are such an amazing person on this live, okay? You've got Fifth's back. You're his right-hand man, and every contribution you make is so valid. And I think sometimes, obviously, you're going to get people where we say something and it may trigger something in other people, So I wouldn't take it to heart, my love. She obviously felt where she was sitting as well, and she was triggered, and that happens because when we talk openly and we talk raw on live about our experiences, it's going to touch nerves with people. But what we need to remain and learn to do is remain calm. Yeah, just remain calm and see it through. Ride the wave, as I say, just ride the wave. But big up to you, Beyonder, honestly. And Fifth, 100. But Beyonder, don't feel any way, okay? You didn't say anything wrong. I just think it sometimes when somebody says something to someone that doesn't expect it, it triggers them. Do you understand? So you didn't say anything wrong, my love. Okay, just putting it out there for you.
Yeah. She also doesn't know him, and then he doesn't know her. So sometimes you don't know. You don't. When you're not familiar with someone, that could happen.
Yeah,
Because everybody compartmentalizes or decompartmentalizes conversations not the same. Okay.
yeah.
So okay, the follow-thon, the marathon stream Sunday, July
Yep.
19th,
Yep.
co-hosted by Mila, Beyonda, Zacchaeus. Let me announce the topics. So for Mila's, starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 Central, Sunday, July 19th. Mila's topic is why are women so afraid to commit? Beyonda's topic, Beyonda, what's your topic again? Do you got it like grammatically? Well, not grammatically, but do you have it TikTok friendly of the choices that I mentioned? Because the
Yeah,
algorithm, because
I'll send you.
ChatGPT had a response to that title. Yeah.
I'll send you that tonight before I go to.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Beyonder, I'll be there to support you, my love.
So
Yes,
his
but this just to let everyone know, it is revolved around consent. I'll just say that.
okay. All right.
Oh,
So Mila's slot time is 12 to 3. Beyonda's slot time is 3 to 6. Zacchaeus' slot time is 6 to 9. And then the finale is my slot time, 9 to 12, which is my topic. I'm going to be throughout the whole stream, but enjoying every conversation. But there's going to be times where I'll take little breaks. But I'm definitely going to be there the whole time. Okay. Um, uh, Zacchaeus' topic is should race matter when choosing uh, your spouse? So that's an interracial dating topic. Shout outs to him.
oh,
My topic is can arranged marriages solve the marriage crisis?
oh, wow.
So that'd be my topic. I have never, ever, ever touched on that subject ever.
Nice. Good
So
subject.
that'd even be a first for me. So we got 4 topics.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
So the whole,
Definitely polarizing, but there's a point to it.
yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna. So that's what's going on July 19th. Starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 a.m. To 12 a.m. I will put up some more posters and banners and stories throughout
Yeah, do.
tonight and the next few days until Sunday, because Sunday's right around the corner. It will start on time. Don't worry, y'all. I'll be there. I'll be streaming from my computer, so y'all get to see me on camera that day.
Woo
So
woo.
I'm excited. I have a goal to reach 1,000 followers that night. That's actually kind of a lot in one day. Realistically, I don't think that'll happen, but it is what it is. It still would be a success of mine regardless. Okay,
Yeah,
so
100%. 100.
even if it's just 10 people who follow, 5 people who follow, I'm humble. I appreciate it day to day. And you know what? It's been a journey. I've started doing lives in January. I was someone who was very inactive on TikTok when I started TikTok last year. I got on TikTok probably like late summer last year. All I did was repost stuff from my other content creation, but I didn't do any lives on here. I started doing lives in January.
No
Uh,
way, Fifth. No way.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I've been doing lives on January since January on TikTok. Everything I did else was on YouTube. But
Hmm.
coming here was new for me. So I started
You
the
done
show with.
well. You done well.
Thank you. I started the show with Mr. Yard Chat. We first started the lives together on here. He's going on and done other endeavors, and I wish him the best. But we definitely started this together, so shout outs to him. But yeah, man, this is where we're at. So and we're gonna
Yeah.
keep it and we're gonna keep it going every Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 Central, live with Fifth.
Yeah.
All right.
Please join. Everyone that's out there listening, please join. And I will always share your lives as well because I think they're amazing, Fifth. So I will. And I will on Sunday. I've got a busy day on Sunday, but I'm going to jump in and out where I can because I don't want to miss the marathon, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Especially with my Beyonce there. Beyonce. I keep calling him Beyonce. Beyonce, do you want to change your name?
Wow. That man, done jumped off the panel when you said Beyonce.
Oh, look,
That's funny.
Beyonce got really offended. He disappeared.
That's funny. So my final thought is this.
Go on.
So I don't think there's no complete answer. I can't say who suffers more, but both parties definitely suffer regardless.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
parents suffer and the children suffer, and it all depends on the whole story around how it ended,
Yep.
what happens post divorce.
Correct.
The co-parenting situation plays a big role. Whether the
Mm.
mother and the father choose to remarry or have other relationships, which brings other people into the family dynamic, that also
Mm.
could alter the suffering as well.
Yeah.
I will say in a lot of cases, a lot of parents suffer in silence after a divorce. There are children who suffer in silence after a divorce.
Yeah.
And what really happens is that, and this is what we have to keep in mind, is that when parents divorce, it's like the family divorces too. Because when you marry someone, you marry into their family. So I think everybody in some sort
Exactly.
of way, in some capacity, is affected by
Suffers.
the divorce.
Yeah.
The immediate family and the extended family.
Yeah. 100.
But what matters is what you do after the divorce. Because
Yeah.
you still have a family together, you are still a community, a tribe, and a nation. And you definitely have to mend that in a mature way. And if you could do that in a way that benefits everyone, even post the divorce, then the community will still at least thrive in a way where um, the long suffering is not what basically happens. And then we also make it so that for the next generation that we try to do things the right way and as best as possible.
For them, yes.
Some things you can only get right once. You're lucky enough to get it right twice. So decisions, choices play a role. Be wise with your decisions and your choices.
Big up, Fifth. Big up. Yes. Agree.
Thank you, Soul.
You're
Thanks
so
for coming
welcome, my
on.
love. Always, always. When I can, you know I will.
Absolutely.
No, I
I want my
appreciate
girl. I
appreciate
want my
you.
girl. I want my girl Kay to show up on Sunday. Hopefully, she has time.
I'll share it with her, don't worry.
Okay.
All right.
All
Joe, you
right.
take care. It was amazing. Thank you as always for having me on
Take
your
care.
panel. You take
Take
care as
care.
well, yeah? Take care.
Love you,
Good night.
Soul. All love. I
Love
love you,
you
Soul.
too. Big love to you as well, Fifth. Love you too. Take care.
Take care. Thank you.
Take
Everyone have a
care.
good weekend. Have a good weekend, everyone. Streaming. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.